check 1 2 1 2. We live, baby. Come on. That's right. Okay. Can you hear me now? Oh, let's go. It's your boy Big Chew, the voice of the beat.
You know what I want?
Blaze up.
Come on, blaze up.
It's the beat for me.
Wah 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 for your guy, for your B-O-Y. Drop it for your guy, for your B-O-Y. Do it for your guy, for your B-O-Y. Come on, baby, we live. For your boy, for your boy, for your boy, for your boy. Hustle for your boy, fix it for your boy. Drop it for your wah 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 lift it up, then it bust it open, lift it up, yeah. Come on, lift it up, then it bust it open for your B-O-Y. Bend it, for you, rock it for you, lift it up, baby. Mix it with your bust or not.
Come on, blaze up. You know.
Drop me a nasty beat.
Hi, everybody. Let's try it again. Y'all already know how I go. How's the internet? Does it look weird? I feel like it looks weird. Hold on, y'all. Y'all know I'm by this man house. Hold on, y'all. Let me, girl, I swear, on my soul. Hold on right quick. Give me 1 second. I feel like it's coming back through. Is it coming back through? Let me wait to see if it come back through how I look on y'all end. Yeah. We good enough. Hey, y'all, how y'all doing? Y'all get in here, like the video. We are on another region of the Americas, North America to be exact, as it pertains to the conquering and colonizing of the lands and the people of Turtle Island. First of all, happy birthday, G Powell. We're gonna celebrate G Powell's 51st born day. Happy birthday. And then we're gonna get into a couple things, and I got a video to show you. I was actually in the middle of doing Krishan Rock content, and I had to jump off. So whatever the case may be, we are here. I would like to start off by saying happy birthday to G Powell. And anybody else in the chat who has a birthday, you guys, I appreciate y'all when y'all come through on y'all birthdays, because y'all could be anywhere else except playing with me, but y'all right over here, okay? So let's go ahead on and celebrate this birthday right quick, little schniggly giggly. Y'all drop the cakes and the hearts and all of that in the chat, and we gonna get into it. I did a happy birthday this morning. Where you was, G Power? You must have missed the live. But anyway, happy birthday, Fat. I hope you enjoy and have many, many more.
Happy birthday,
My bad, y'all. Yo, I had seen this Instagram post that had all of the happy birthday songs lined up, and I was like, "Ooh, I need to get that," because they had the one where the people were singing in the restaurant, and it sounded so good. But I know this the one everybody like. Y'all know y'all don't like change, because I don't either. But happy birthday, G Power, again. Thank you for all the support. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Make sure you guys like the live. It's a small community over here, and we like it just like that. But make sure you like the live in case somebody coming behind want to go in and check out the video. So we talked about colonization, 1452, 1492, and so on and so forth. Okay. We realized Christopher Columbus ain't discovered a doggone thing. He actually, in my opinion, he went over there on purpose, but act like he didn't know where he was. Girl, bye. Then we also have Henry DeSoto, who came in and pillaged with flesh-eating dogs, all type of things going on. It was a time, and that was the Southeast region, right? Now we're gonna move up to, I guess you would call the Northeast region. I'm not really good on geography, but New York, from New York. And we're going to talk about the Dutch and how they settled up there in the colonies, how basically why they came, which was for furs, but we'll get into it. Also, basically how they use us to be back and forth with each other. Okay? That's just what it is. And they still do that today. It's called divide and conquer. We're going to discuss a couple of those things. Also, I want to show y'all a video on something else that I had that I wanted to that I wanted y'all to see, because like I say, I just want to get any information that I can get and pass it on to you guys. I want to do that. Boo, my grandchild are in the other room trying to remix the birthday. Oh, that's so cute. Alicia, it's your birthday too? What's going on? Girl, where was y'all antennas when I was doing the birthdays all this morning? But we're going to do it one more time. We're going to roll it out one more time just for you, Alicia. You're late. Welcome to the party. No, welcome to the birthday. You're late, Alicia. But we're going to go ahead and say happy birthday to Alicia. We're going to run it back again. Shout out to Alicia. I hope you have many, many more. I appreciate all your support. You've been supporting me for a long time. I appreciate you. I hope that you have a wonderful Friday and weekend, because, you know, when your birthday falls on a Friday, it'd be lit. You know what I'm saying? Something about it. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, let's get the birthday back one more time. Y'all drop the hearts and the cakes in the chat for Alicia. Thank you, my love, and happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, happy birthday to you. Shout out to G Powell and to Alicia. You say you were asleep this morning? I got you, Fed. I was just playing with you. Another thing, somebody had snitched on y'all last week and said y'all was in the chat flirting and playing. First of all, you little daggers, if that's what y'all doing, do it. You know what I'm saying? I ain't got nothing to say about it, or whatever the case may be. But somebody did drop down in my comments, no, in my DMs, and told me y'all was down there. They said boo. They said boo. Last week, you missed it, boo. They said they was flirting. They was acting a fool all in the comments. And I said they was doing what? That's what they said. I didn't say it. That's what they said. But you know, do what you do. You might find love down at the Voodoo Doll TV. That's what we here for love. Do what you do. You know what I'm saying? I just want to point it out that somebody had snitched on y'all. Even though I kind of saw it, but I wasn't really paying attention. But yeah, somebody snitched on y'all last week or whatever. Yeah, being all hot, little hot tail self. That's what they was doing, being hot in the pants. Okay? That's what they said what was going on last week. They said it was over there being hot in the pants. Little fast tail selves. That's what they said. It was fast last week. Anyways, if you find love, invite me to the wedding. Okay? That's all I ask. Invite me down to the wedding if you find love. I love weddings. Okay? Moving on. Where were we? What was I about to say? Let's get into the lesson. So we are going to start with New York. From New York, before it was a concrete jungle where dreams are made of. There's nothing they don't do up there in New York. I want to show y'all something so y'all can get a look. You know what I'm saying? What you mean, where your acorn? You a member, Nikki Nicole? Are you a member? If you're a member, your acorn should be there. I want to show you guys something. Mind you, I will have your Seneca Valley thing, Seneca Village, I'm sorry. I will have your Seneca Village tease, your documentary coming this weekend. I will be taking time to work on that this weekend. Hold on. Let's do this. No, go back. I will be working on that to get that to y'all. That's kind of why I came here with it, because I was like, okay, bet I could start here and then boom. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead on with the Seneca Village thing, because Valley. Is it Village or Valley? Girl, I got so much going on. But listen, New York wasn't always what we see it as today, as the so-called concrete jungle. That's not actually the way it was. It was actually a thriving Indian colony. There were a lot of Indians up there. We're going to get into it. I want to see if I could find... Now, I have a map, and it wasn't just New York, Pennsylvania, all of those areas. It's all that little side piece. You know what I'm saying? Hold on, we got some things to acknowledge over here. Thank you for becoming a member, Nikki Nicole. You got your acorn. There you go. You got your acorn. Thank you for becoming a member. MOB, thank you for the super chat. Boo, please don't drag us this early. I ain't dragging nobody. I'm just trying to live. I just want to live. And plus, New York, this is a good thing. This is a good time for New York, y'all. Listen, I'm going to talk about how you guys were led astray and run amok like the rest of us. You know what I mean? So that's what we're getting to. We're not dragging this a little education. Shout out to MOB. I know you're supposed to check on the people because that's your job as prime minister. So I get it. You know what I'm saying? Thank you, Belinda, for the super chat. I am ready, Voodoo, for my lesson. Yes, we about to get into it. I wanted to show y'all did Black excellence ruin Black? Black period ruin the so-called Blacks. Okay, Stacey, we just getting started, so you didn't miss nothing. The word itself, the identity itself ruined Blacks, okay? Let's get into it. I wanted to show y'all this. Hold on. Let me see. The earlier depictions of New York are kind of like the 1700s, you know what I mean? Type tees. I wanted to show y'all like a map of, let me see, this might be one here. Let me go to it. Oh, this might be good. What this is. Okay, we'll save that. But I wanted to show y'all kind of what it looked like prior to, you know what I mean? The colonizers coming in here and turning it into a concrete jungle and then putting everybody in one spot. Because I think that's extremely important as we discuss these type of things, because here we go. Let me see. I'm going to share my screen so you can look at it. Mind you, these are depictions because they didn't have cameras. Let me tell you something. I also start to believe that's cap. All that's this new technology that they claiming that they got. I believe they've already had it. And I think them clear people and the Negro Peons who came over here, I think that they personally, you know what I mean? Took that stuff, hid it so they can ration it out as they please. Girl, what is this? Girl, what is this? Get this off of here. There you go. So if you guys can see this, here's some of the earlier depictions of what New Amsterdam, or you know what I mean, all these places was looking like, because a lot of people don't understand that the world as we know it today has completely changed. Like, it is nowhere near what it was in those times, right? Thank you for the super chat, Tabitha Richardson. Thanks for all your hard work and time. We love you all. I love you too. Thank you. Thank you so much for the super chat. Thank you so much. But I wanted y'all to see this, y'all, because you have to understand, like I said, the world as we know it today is not like we knew it back then, right? The people changed. When they took identities, they took more than just an identity. They took a whole lot from us. The things that we're eating, all of these things, none of those things were things that were of us. Now, this is very interesting. Look at this. Tobacco requires labor. Problem: who works the fields? Slaves, too expensive. Children not being born. Natives, disease, and geographical. Look at this thing right here. Look at that man. I wish I could. I don't think it'll let me. Yeah, I don't think it'll let me zoom in. Look at this clear man, this European, and look at this Indian. The depictions are there of who you was. That man right there got him a peace pipe, which probably got some marijuana up in there. You know what I'm saying? It looks like he got some feathers in his hand. What is that, fish? You know what I mean? Like, these are the natives that the people came upon when they come over here. Mind you, the Dutch is who mostly settled in that area. It was other people, but the Dutch were the ones, like, you know what I'm saying? So, and again, these aren't like photos, these are depictions, but typically how it worked is if you saw something, you committed it to a photographic memory and then you drew it later on. All of the depictions of these people that they have from artists, from even people who would go around and be just like looking for stuff, they would bring artists with them. They would bring the artists with them, and then the artists would come in and they would be able to see and witness what they see and witness, and they were able to basically capture on canvas what they saw when they were there. So this looks like it says Cooks, Virginia. It's a couple other things, London. You can see that there was some sort of treaty or some sort of agreement at some point. Now, just like the Negroes, we be gullible, and just like the Negropeans and the Clears, they are there to do what they do, so they lied. You know what I'm saying? But I find it very interesting that that these people had all of this stuff going on, and then all of a sudden it just went left. Also, remind you, tobacco is native of America. See, we were taught, I know I was taught growing up, at least as I remember it, that a lot of the things that we got from here came from Africa. Like people say sweet potatoes came from Africa. That's cap. That's cap. That's kibbity cap. Sweet potatoes ain't come from no doggone Africa. You see what I'm saying? But they tell us that to keep our attention towards Africa. Everything, the motherland. They ain't no motherland. They capping. Thank you, Virgo girl, for becoming a member. Thank you so much. But yes, it looks like black people, Belinda, because it is. It literally is. You know what I mean? Y'all like the video if you haven't already. Hey, Latoya, how you doing, love? But I found that to be interesting. Let me show you something else. Hold on. Because this about to... Did you guys know about white slaves? Did you guys know about that? I'm not gonna lie, I didn't learn about it till like 2 years ago. See, this is another reason that that whole reparations thing for the descendants of slaves, they have actual clear people who were slaves. So ADOS, FBA, when they go down there to get their check, it's a lot of clear people who came and worked under the same indentured servitude that we did as well. Some of us were prisoners of war, but all of our ancestors were not slaves. And you have to know that. Let's read this. It says, white slaves, unemployed and prisoners, indentured service 4 to 7 years. Prince George, November 23rd, 1776, contrary to my defier and ex prefers order, my fervent man James Bullock, entitled with Mr. Robert Poy thereof, I don't know, as officer, he phased under Captain Scott and the Georgia service, upon which I demand my fervent and of the fade Poy, I can't read this language, I had to used to write, without effect. This is therefore to request of Captain Scott to have my fade fervent returned to me without delay or further expense, or I shall certainly propagate him into law. James Anderson. These people talking about clear slaves. And again, that's what bothers me the most about us being deceived by people who know better about going behind them doggone reparations, because at the end of the day, we weren't the only ones under that type of scrutiny and servitude, and all of our ancestors were never slaves. Thank you so much for the super sticker, April LeBlanc. Thank you so much. And that's very important for us to know, because again, it's all to divert your attention away from what's important, who you are and where you belong, what belongs to you, which is you're an indigenous aboriginal person to this land. You were here before Columbus. You were here before the Mongoloids, before the so-called, what do they call it? When them people come over here, the Bering Strait, you were here before all of that. And that's why every so often, that's why you have a thing called Black History Month. People thinking that Black History Month is for you to learn. No, baby, that's to keep you confused, to keep you with this Africa Black narrative. That's what this is all about. That's why I say all the time, I wish they get rid of Black history all over the world, all over America. I hate it. I hate it because I was one who was engulfed in it. And when I found out I was lied to about 95% of it, I'm done with it. I'm completely done with it. What's going on, princess? You done made it, hot fat? Don't be reading no charts up in here this evening. You know what I'm saying? But it's important that you know that. It's really important that you know that, because this is something that needs to be talked about. And Black history ain't gonna talk to you about that. Let me see. I think it's look at this. Discontent and rebellion. Many in area, no decent land chances, no women to marry. I'm sorry. Virginia Governor William Berkeley has friendly policies with natives to take advantage of the lucrative fur trade. This is the New York area. This the Pennsylvania, all up in that area. Okay. Why might this create problems? Mind you, a lot of them people that came over, them so-called clear, which a lot of people believe some of them were Negropeans, a lot of them were infatuated with the women, as they are now. Think about it. A lot of them were infatuated with the women. So much so, a lot of them literally had to be like told, like, hey, you can't keep procreating with them. Not only them, the French in Louisiana. See, the French had never owned slaves before. So when they come to Louisiana, and I learned this part of school, not that they never owned slaves, but what I'm about to tell you is what I learned in college. So in Louisiana history, they taught us about the French and the Spanish, in Spain, and how they came. And they were talking about how the French in Spain would go at war. Spain did not like that the French were extremely lax. They were extremely like cool. Like they just wanted to party, drink, have a good time. You know, hey, yeah. The French were more or less like, y'all could clock in and clock out. Your time is your time. And also they were intermarrying and intermingling with the people. That's how you get your Creole or your mulatto population down in Louisiana. So with that being said, because the French, because the French were not used to having slaves and didn't know how to deal with it. Spain hated them. The Spanish people hated them. They were just like, y'all are basically messing up the church's money. So they had to be taught how to deal with the slaves. But even then, they still cohabitated with the slaves. That's why most Creoles back then were of indigenous, so-called Black and French. Very few Spanish, but it was at first Black and French. Then as time progressed, the Spanish started doing that and all that stuff. And that's how you come up with that whole buffer class of so-called Black people that will really be used just to keep the other people down. Does that make sense? So with that being said, up in New York, they had a lot of, I want to say it was Van Buren. I can't remember who it was up there that just couldn't keep his hands off the indigenous women. So much so they like, bro, you got to stop. Like you, And we're going to get into it. You know what I'm saying? But they've always had a lust for us and a resentment because you got to be honest, we lit and they women not. So, we always been fine, you know what I'm saying, and whatnot. That's just how it goes. Bacon's Rebellion. Natives attack frontiersmen. Berkeley does not punish them. Nathaniel Bacon leads group of indentured service, Black and white. Listen to this. Nathaniel Bacon leads group of indentured service, Black and white, on rampage, including the burning down Jamestown. Bacon dies, movement dies, and 23 men hung. He's got Black and clear indentured servants. So all of this, Black people just automatically owe reparations. It ain't going to work. And the people know that it ain't going to work. That's why they don't entertain it. That's why Scammer could get up here and say, let's be clear. Anything that I give to you guys is going to work. It's going to benefit everybody. Because they know we don't. And they put these agents like the Prince of Pancoochie, like what's that other little feminine, loose-wristed looking boy, Tariq Nasheed and all of them. They put them in place to mislead you. You are owed reparations. So-called Black people in America are owed more than reparations, but not in the way in which we're going about it. Money, a check. They're not going to give us that just because we claim that our ancestors were slaves. First of all, most of us can't even prove that. Because there were a lot of free Black people in the South and in the North, especially on the West Coast. So the fact of the matter is, most of us cannot prove it. Also, even on records, they would say, hey, I'm the owner and these are my slaves, especially if they were two different races of people. And also, that was the way that you claimed your family. Some people would put down, hey, it's me, and then this slave, but it really wasn't probably their slave. It's just so nuanced that people don't understand that. So it's important to know your genealogy, your history, who you are, and collectively, I don't see a problem why we wouldn't be able to come together and be able to figure this whole thing out, because there's a lot of people already on it. Okay? Consequences of the rebellion. Social discontent is obvious. Solution: import African slaves. Prices have become reasonable. Hope to elevate poor white status. This is big. Think back to that video I showed y'all about Frederick Douglass ugly ass. Remember him? And remember he was talking about how he was a slave, even though he ain't lift a finger on Anne Reed plantation. But when he ran away from the last slave master, after he said he whipped that man's ass. But when he ran away from the most recent slave master, he went up to, was it Baltimore? It was one of them places up there. I can't remember. Don't get me the line. But remember, he said that the clear people wanted to rebel because the Negroes was getting all the work and they were making more money. Remember, he said it. He said that the clears was upset at the Negroes because the Negroes was making more money. They were more well-trained. They had more knowledge. And mind you, he's reading during the time where you would be slain for doing so. There was a time, and I know this triggers people because it triggered a lot of people when Candace Owens said it on that thing with T.I. and them. There was a time where the roles were reversed, y'all. I know we've been taught that we've always been nothing. We've been slaves. We ain't had nothing. We wasn't coming from nothing. But there was a time where it was flipped. Okay? So him having his story, right? Talking about Frederick Douglass. Then we got hope to elevate poor white status. This happened a lot in the Dutch colonies up in New York. That's one of the reasons why they were just like so like over it and done and ready to just get rid of all these Indians, because the Indians were doing much better than them. Same, think about it. Rosewood, thriving black community. What did the Clears do? Get rid of it. Let's go with another one. Where they drop the bombs and all that. Hell, we just do Lake Lanier. But even the one up there, the older lady just lost her case. Up in, I'm about to go pull it up. Y'all know how I am coming up with stuff with these names on the fly, girl. And I hate it by myself. I hate it. I absolutely hate it. I'm about to go get it for y'all, because Rizza Islam posted that these ladies, these survivors, Tulsa, the survivors of Tulsa are not going to get any. They lost their lawsuit. They literally lost their lawsuit, and I'm going to tell you why. I'm going to show you why. This is not nothing new. This been happening since the beginning of time. Okay, there was. Let me put. Is this it? Yeah, here you go. Look at this. It says Oklahoma High Court dismisses Tulsa race massacre reparations lawsuit. Do you know why that happened? That didn't just happen because they racist. I told y'all, race is a poor man's game. Status is a rich man's game, okay? If these women or if these survivors were to win this lawsuit, that would be an admission of guilt upon the side of the government. And then that would mean all them other places that they done messed up, Rosewood, Lake Lanier, all of them people could come up with their descendants and their survivors, and they all can sue. Once those lawsuits start happening, the truth starts to come out. So it's bigger than, oh, how can they lose this case? It was clear cut. We know that. We know that. But if these survivors would have won this case, do you understand how big of Pandora's box would have opened? They cannot. That is a admission of guilt if they win this case. Remember, the government likes to use the KKK, hire the KKK, and all these white supremacist people to come in and do the dirty work. But when you go back and say, okay, Mr. Government, they did the dirty work, we want to sue, they disassociate themselves. That's what they do. So that's why this went like this. And this is the thing. I'm so glad you asked about that, B-Dub. B-Dub says, can't we make an appeal to the UN? Yes, if we were a nation. We're not a nation. Individuals can't go to the UN. That's why it's called the United Nations. We have to be a nation. And guess what? Black American ain't no nation. Yep. A nation, in order to form a nation, you got to have a flag. You got to have laws. Yeah, we're not a nation. If we were a nation, we could go to the UN and appeal. But we ain't no nation. We just niggas and black Americans. And that changes every so often. That keeps us off the trail of even creating a nation. So, unfortunately, it sucks, but that's just what it is. But they keep us divided. They keep us confused, so we won't form a nation. That they do that on purpose. They keep us divided and all discombobulated so that we won't come together and form a nation. That's another thing, because we keep going to the people who oppressed us and stole from us, asking them to right their wrongs. That don't go like that. Why would I, if I done stole your house and did you dirty and beat your ass for 50,000 years, why would I come back and pay you? That's crazy. You would have to go over the head, which is the UN, but you have to be a nation in order to do it. This is why, in my opinion, I could be wrong, but this is why, in my opinion, it's easier for individuals to go and figure out your genealogy, figure out what was wrongfully taken from you and get that back. Not only that, help others, talk to others. You feel me? Because the more people know, the more people can sit up here and say, okay, maybe we should come together on some stuff and form said nation. Remember, the Cherokee tribe was comprised of a multitude of tribes. They sucked the ones who wanted to come over and be civilized. They sucked them into the 5 civilized tribes. But those people before that were individual tribes. So we would have to come together and try to find some sort of and form a nation. That's the only way. Other than that, it ain't gonna happen. Another thing I want to show y'all. Hold on. Colonial slavery, 7 to 11 million, depending on the source. Only 6 to 7% of slaves end up in North America. We already went over that, 388,000. Which I don't believe they brought millions over here anyway, but neither here nor there. Royal African Company lost monopoly on slave trade to the colonies. America, especially Rhode Island, enters the lucrative slave trade, right? It wouldn't make sense if there's a whole land of people. If there's a whole land of people here, then it wouldn't make sense for you to go capture and risk losing life and limb to go get all these other African slaves. Most from stretch of West Africa, route known as the Middle Passage, 20% death rate, which was capped. Major slave ports, Newport and Charleston, 1662 laws enacted to ensure black stay slaves. I want to say that was a Papa Bull. I want to say that's what that was. I'll have to go back and look at it. I'll be having so much stuff going on. Y'all remember this thing right here? This to be sold, the Negro, have y'all ever seen that? Look at what the Negro look like. We're gonna get into it. South, weather and work lowers life expectancies. Chesapeake tobacco makes slave life better. It says 1, less strenuous work. 2, plantations are smaller and more condensed, allow some communication. 1720s, Chesapeake now has self-sustaining slave system. Look at this. Can y'all see this? Oh, look, girl, I hadn't even been sharing it. My bad. Look at this. Look at this. This advertising. What do them Negroes look like? I'm gonna read it. To be sold on board the ship Banks Van, and Tuesday, the 6th of May, next at some Alpharetta Ferry, a choice cargo of about 150 fine, healthy Negroes just arrived from the Windward and Rice coast. The utmost care has already been taken and shall be continued to keep them free from leaf danger and being infected with the smallpox. No box having been on board, and all other communication with people from Charleston, South Carolina, prevented. Okay, what do them Negroes look like? Do they look Indian or do they look like the African that they showed y'all on Roots? These look like the same Indians we saw on the peace pipe photo. Because the Indian was the Negro. Did we go over Andrew Jackson? I think we did go over Andrew Jackson. And did we go over Walter Plecker and how he turned the Indian into the Negro? Because y'all know that was Walter Plecker. Those are your Negroes. Okay, we did. Thank you, B-Dub. Those are your Negroes. Whew. Slavery in America. Unique slave culture is formed mix of Africa and America, speech, religion, and music, banjo, bango, drum. Now, they're trying to say that they had put a whole bunch of Africans and mixed us in. They did on paper, not in real life. They did on paper. They did a paper genocide, not in real life. Because out of the entire slave trade, only 6 to 7% of Africans even made it to America. The entire North America. So remember, I showed y'all the intra-American slave trade had way more traffic going back and forth than any of them voyages coming out of Africa. That intra-American slave trade, it was like they was damn near docking and importing every damn day, 4, 5, 6, 7 times a day, because it was easier to go up the Mississippi and bring somebody from Louisiana to Florida. Or it was easy to, you know what I mean? Or to the Gulf. Or it's easier to go from Louisiana to North Carolina, or North Carolina to Louisiana, or, you know, things of that nature. That makes more sense than going all the way across these places where it's taking you 60 to 90 days. That's with no stops. And then not losing as many people. It just... But we're going to get into it, how they turned the Negro, the Indian to the Negro. New York slave revolt 1712, 23 slaves, 9 white dead, 6 injured. Problems in New York, cramped plantation life and slaves communicating with freed men. Results, 70 blacks arrested, 21 executed. Long-term effects, more restrictive laws passed. Example, 1, blacks may not have a gathering of 3 or more. Ain't that the same to this day? 2, if owner frees slaves, 200-pound tax, much more than the cost of the slave. Look, isn't it a problem when Negroes gather today? Ain't that why police would see a group of young black boys on the corner or even on the porch or just chilling in the park, and they would stop them and mess with them? Because our people wasn't no pushover slaves come off no boat with chains around our necks and come from under the boat while we laid on top of each other, threw up on each other and feces and all. That wasn't us. We actually fought. We fought all over. My family fought in Mississippi, and people fought in New York. They fought all over. The first example, blacks may not have a gathering of 3 or more. That tells you everything you need to know, child. Okay. Now, these are some depictions of what they were doing to the so-called slaves. You can see how they were mutilating them in public. That's another psychological slave trick. Mutilate them in front of everybody so the other ones are scared. Stono Rebellion. Roughly 60 slaves joined in hopes of reaching Spanish-controlled Florida. Carried a banner, Liberty, 22 to 25 clears killed. In fact, South Carolina stopped slave imports for 10 whole years when continued stop getting slaves from the Congo region. Long-term effects, slavery is firmly implanted, and then 2 slave rebellions don't come close to Bacon's rebellion. Remember, Bacon went in there with some clears and some Indians, some Negroes. We fought, man. We fought. And if anybody is in this area, if y'all could ever go see that, that'd be dope. The Stono Rebellion, 1739. The Stono Rebellion, the largest slave insurrection in British North America, began nearby on... Is that nearby? Is that what it say? Let me read it from here. Began near Wallace Creek, a branch of the Stono River, taking guns and other weapons. They killed 2 shopkeepers. The rebels marched south towards promised freedom in Spanish Florida, waving flags, beating drums, and a shouting. Is that what that is? And shouting, liberty, and shouting liberty. Yeah. We was outside. And not only did we rebel when we won, you heard what they say, huh? we marched off singing and shouting liberty. What's up? We outside. Southern society. Very rigid social classes. First families of Virginia, extended families stretching back to 1690s. Prior to Revolution, 70% of Virginia House of Burgesses are first family Virginians, right? Social ladder. 1, planter class, large plantations, large amount of slaves, control politics and economy of the South. So the larger your plantation, the larger amount of slaves you had, and y'all control the economy of the South. Very small portions of populations, about 5% less, right? So they had other populations that were small, you know what I'm saying? That didn't have the power as the planter class. Okay, so it says very small portion of population, about 5% less. Yeah, so it wasn't a lot of, I'm sorry, let me retract that. It wasn't a lot of the planter class, which it isn't still today. When you think about the leaders in America and all over the world, it's not the majority. They're never the majority. They're always the minority, the few. 2, small farmers. Huge decline in influence and prestige. Largest portion of population. Small land plot. Maybe owned up to 5 slaves. Go become large landowners. So the small farmers wanted to be the large landowners. They didn't have as much land. They didn't have as many slaves. And remember, when you hear this word slave, it don't always mean like we saw it on TV. But their goal was to become like the big dogs. They want to stomp with the big dogs. Y'all like the video, please. Here's the third tier. Land whites, usually freed from indenture. 4, indentured service, numbers diminish. And then 5, slaves. Remember, slaves were typically, from what I understand, prisoners of war. Indentured service could be clear or Negro or Indian for that matter. And it was kind of like mixed up when it came down to the census. But landless whites, usually free from indenture, they were just as poor. Why do you think, think about it like this. If there were landless whites, like meaning clear people who don't own nothing, they broke, and they running across these civilizations or these civilized places where these black people are thriving, you don't think that's going to cause some type of like animosity? They ain't teach me nothing about this in school, and I'm just over here when I'm going through all this stuff like, what in the world? Where was all of this hiding at? But again, I have to understand the school system. They're put in place to teach a certain curriculum. That's how they receive their funding. Southern physical societies, few cities or roads. Large plantations are spread out and isolated on rivers. Lack of roads also affect development of school and education, family burial plots. All right. Now, I want to get into, let me go back. And we'll go over some more of this too. Let me go to let's start with Henry Hudson. Remember, it's the British and it's the Dutch, all of them up there in this area. Henry Hudson, the Hudson River is named after him. Let me get into it. Okay, so where's my cursor? Okay, there you go. Henry Hudson, a 16th and 17th century British explorer. Henry Hudson is best known for his discovery of 2 bodies of water later named after him, the Hudson River in present-day New York and Hudson's Bay along the Arctic coast of present-day Canada. At the time of his discovery, he was what he called the Great North River. He was working for the Dutch East India Company. He had been commissioned to look for a northeast passage to Asia over Russia, but Arctic exploration, this was his 3rd expedition north, was beginning to pall. So he turned and sailed west and then down the North Atlantic coast. How come these niggas always getting lost? Everybody got lost? Something happened where everybody just landed. Girl, stop it. That's cap. When he came to present-day New York Harbor, with his deep but treacherous bay and saw the wide expanse of the Hudson, he headed north, determined to follow it to its end. be that the Pacific Ocean or something else entirely. He sailed north, encountering Lenape, Wappinger, Esposas, and Mohican. Y'all remember that? How they used to say last of the Mohicans? Yeah, Mohican people along the way. So listen, as he's sailing north, he encounters, these are the people that he encountered: melanated indigenous people, Lenape, Wappinger, Esopus, and Mohican people. That's who he came across. And he found them north of present-day Albany. He encountered that the natural waterfall that is today Troy Menens Dam. Defeated but underrated, he returned to Holland to report his findings, claiming the land for the Dutch crown, and went north again, this time to the west. Ostracized by his British countrymen for claiming territory for another nation, because mind you, he British, but he over there stealing for the Dutch. Yeah, MOB, nobody ain't had no GPS. So look, it says, ostracized by his British countrymen for claiming territory for another nation, he was unable to return home to his wife and children. And then on his fourth voyage, Hudson was subjugated to a mutiny in the cold waters of the Canadian Arctic. Put into a whaleboat with his teenage son and several ill but loyal crew members, he watched as the mutineers, including his longtime first mate Robert Jewell, sailed back toward England. Hudson, his son, and his loyal crew were never found, but history named the bay after him, although mutiny was a capital crime in Britain and some of the mutineers were tried. None were ever convicted. So it's given, once they found out he was down there helping these other folk get land, they went on there and got and unalived his ass. That's what it's given. The Dutch began settling in present-day New York just 15 years after Hudson's journey, founding first Fort Orange, at present-day Albany. Later, I can't pronounce that. Then New Amsterdam at present-day Manhattan, and Wiltwijk at present-day Kingston. The Dutch held New Amsterdam as a colony until 1655, when the might of the British Army led to a bloodless takeover. Keyword, bloodless takeover. Although Henry Hudson did keep a record of his voyages, it has been lost to history, I bet. It was known after his final voyage and partially quoted in books and papers published in later years, but the original no longer exists, of course. First mate and later mutineer Robert Jewell also kept the journey of his voyages. The New Netherlands Museum offers a translated version available as a PDF. I don't trust it. Just like they translate the Bible, I don't trust it. The public domain books below are arranged by date, which is noted so that the text may be put in historical context. So we got Henry Hudson, the Navigator. Those are the books. All right. Boom. So now we know how Henry Hudson got his crazy ass over here. First of all, he an op. Why is you over there sailing for the Dutch and you are British? That's why they got you up out of there. That's why they knocked you upside your head and brought you in the middle of the doggone ocean. How is it your partner, your first mate, was able to make it back, but you couldn't? Boy, bye. Them people say, oh, you want to be a trader? Good. Trade these waters. And they put him out there, as they should. He said him and his son, and a couple of his people. He an op. He got to go. You don't get to do that. No. How you going to go claim land for them and you one of us? Okay, that's how the people felt, I guess. I don't blame him. I'd have left his ass out there too. Shoot. But I don't believe they just left him out there. I think they popped him upside the head. I ain't gonna lie, I think that. But remember, they say mutiny was against the law, but nobody never. Girl, bye. Now let's get Marty Mart up here. No, before we get Marty Mart, let's get New Amsterdam. Remember, New Amsterdam is Manhattan. All right. Get y'all over here. People of New Amsterdam, New Netherlands, hold on, and Lenapehoking, I don't know. Let's get into it. New York City is built on the legacies of people who have lived, worked, and traded in this region for thousands of years. Thousands. The profile below showcase individuals from the Dutch Amsterdam period, some of whom are featured in the Museum of the City of New York's exhibition New York at its core. Their stories provide insight into the histories of trade, policies or politics, slavery, gender roles, and ecology in the region. Accompanying insights from scholars provide additional context for the forces shaping the lives of these individuals and addressing the legacies of the colonial period for today. The Lenape of the 17th century, which is the 1600s, lived where the predecessors had for at least 6,000 years. Them folk was there for at least 6,000 years. And the region known today as Lenapehoking was a complex landscape of trade, politics, and resource management. In 1609, English explorer Henry Hudson, working for a Dutch company, sailed into New York Bay and found the homeland of the Lenape. And it says, recognizing the natural resources of the area, a land rich with furs, fish, and plants, he immediately laid claim to the Lenape territory for his employers. In 1624, a new firm, the Dutch West India Company, sent European traders and settlers to cash in on the colony's potential by trading with the Lenape and other indigenous nations. This is very important. These indigenous people that we about to talk about that's going to be trading back and forth with these foreigners are going to be copper-colored Indians. Why is this important? When them folk used to try to come over here, we didn't really trip on them as far as having pieces of land. If it was available, y'all do the meetings of the minds, and if you can have it, you can have it, right? That is going to end up biting us in our ass. It's almost equivalent today is how we invite people to the cookout. Does that make sense? You know how we invite everybody to the cookout, and now we getting kicked up the behind because we invited. This is what's about to happen in New York, in New Amsterdam, and all these areas right now. The Negroes or Indians are sitting up there saying, we just trading, it's cool. Yeah, y'all can have that little plot of land, it's cool, ain't nothing. But the gag is, they don't understand that these people are setting them up for something huge. All right. Yes, like Thanksgiving. All right. It goes on to say, to cash in the colony's potential by trading. Okay. By 1628, 270 European colonists and enslaved Africans, be mindful of that. When they be saying enslaved Africans, they don't mean the Africans. They mean the melanated copper-colored people. Because remember, they were ignorant. They thought we all came from Africa. And a lot of this is intentionally done like that so we could go back to Africa, mindset-wise. But listen. By 1628, 270 European colonists and enslaved Africans brought over by the West India Company had built the town of New Amsterdam and the southern tip of Manhattan as the capital of the colony of New Netherlands. By 1664, the village of New Amsterdam was a settlement of 1,500 people who reportedly spoke 18 languages, making it one of the world's most diverse places. Ain't New York still like that to today? Ain't right now, I tell y'all, it's a melting pot that I want to kick over. To this day, I love New York. I love my indigenous folk up there. But y'all know I be wanting to kick that melting pot over like a mug. That's how they started off with that. There's a weird history about them and how they did that. Okay? Let's get into some folk. Peter Minuit. Peter Minuit, 1590 to 1638, was born in the German town of Wesel. His parents were Walloon or French-speaking Protestant refugee who had fled the southern Netherlands when the political situation had become unfriendly to Protestants under Catholic Spain. Cornelius Steenwyck, 1626 to 1681, was one of those merchants, and he used the colony's opportunities for economic advancement to secure a level of social and political status that would not have been open to him back in the Dutch Republic. Everybody coming over here for opportunity. Everybody. Penhowitz, Penhowitz, 1643, that's his death date. They don't have the birthday. Was one of the most influential sachems or indigenous leaders who in the early 17th century lived in Lenapehoking, a Lenape term for the ancestral lands that included large parts of Manhattan Island, Long Island, the lower Hudson Valley, and the upper Delaware Valley. So here's an indigenous person right here. Penhowitz. He's an indigenous person. This is very important because remember, they can't do it without one of us. It just don't exist. They have to do it with one of us. Sarah Kerstedt. Sarah Kerstedt was a woman of Scandinavian descent who served as a translator for Dutch negotiations with indigenous communities in New Amsterdam. So she was a translator. Juan Rodriguez. Juan Rodriguez was a black or mixed race man from Santo Domingo, today's Dominican Republic, who is considered the first non-native person to have resided in the area that would later be called New Amsterdam. So here we go, Afro-Latino. Raidery, Angola. Enslaved Africans began to arrive in Manhattan Island not long after the first Dutch structures rose from the ground in 1624. The West India Company shipped enslaved men to the colony for the express purpose of building its infrastructure. Again, Africans weren't coming over this time of at this time. Not in droves. Not enough to bring them to go build up no doggone infrastructures. They were important Indians or Negroes from the intra-American slave trade. Most likely the Caribbeans. Most likely the Carolinas. They were not coming over here in droves like the Africans, like they say. Because remember, between the whole slave trade, only 388,000 came. That's cap. Petrus Stuyvesant. Petrus Stuyvesant is best known as New Amsterdam or New Netherlands' longest, most influential, and last Dutch governor, having served until the English overthrew the colony's Dutch administration and renamed it New York in 1664. So Petrus Stuyvesant, he's the one who renamed it New York in 1664, and he was the last Dutch governor. Okay, that's that melting pot. All of that's put in there on purpose. Okay. I don't care about them. So, okay, now we're off of that, right? So now, so far what we know is the Lenape people were there. Indigenous people that had been there 6,000 years before these folk even got there, right? They get there. Hudson had already told all the people about that. He got popped upside the head for being an op. Then they get there. All of these people become this huge melting pot still to this day. Still to this day, most your biggest melting pot is New York. And they came over here with the help of, what's his name? I don't want to say it wrong. Well, I'm probably going to say it wrong anyway. Penhowitz, he was probably the traitor. He was probably the person that sold us out. Maybe he didn't do it on purpose because remember, these are cunning people. Maybe he didn't do it on purpose, but he's the one who sold the New York people out. I want to show y'all something. So I was watching the House of Consciousness, right? Because I be going over, you know what I'm saying, all types of stuff. And Sinetta had ran across this lady. This lady is from New York. That's not what's crazy. She said she was an indigenous Indian, and she had her father there. And I want y'all to see what she says about their history up in there, and watch how this all lines up. Hold on, where that lead at? I want to show y'all how this all lines up. It's crazy. It wasn't that long ago. Let me go back up. Hold on. Y'all have to see this. She's actually on TikTok as well. I went found her on TikTok. Nice, wonderful woman. Very smart, very beautiful. I want y'all to see this. Maybe it ain't under live. Maybe it's under the videos. Let me go into the videos. Hold on. Y'all gonna see this. I want y'all to see this because I had screen recorded it, but I don't know why I screen recorded. I just did. Damn it. What's the lady name? It's gotta be under here. Hold on, y'all. Give me 1 second. I want y'all to see this. ISTPK, back to the Street Scholars. Jabari, such a god. Jabari blows me. Judah Nazareth, Turtle Gang, BK Apologist. I'm about to tell you which one it is right now because I had screen recorded it. Because I was like, that's dope. This lady know her whole history, like her whole entire history. Like, she didn't, like, from her family, like, it's passed down through her family. I have it, y'all. If y'all just give me 1 second. Nope, that's the music. Here she go. What's the name of this? Hold on, y'all. Give me 1 second. I have to find this. Okay, hold on. I found it. Hold on. All right, here we go. We're going to get it. I want to show y'all this, y'all. And we're going to fast forward to the part.
You already know what it is. Peace and black power, man.
And
I'm here with
indigenous power.
How long have we known each other?
Over 35 years, like about 30.
How long
30,
have we known each other?
Like about 36 years. From the
all
early
this
80s.
all this time, I didn't know that you was an American Indian.
Yes. You didn't
Talk to us about that.
I'm definitely going to talk about it because I went through the Rastafari culture, Selassie I, Marcus Garvey. I had a shop in 125th Street Mart. I had a Rasta cultural shop. But I did sell books about Black Indians, 100 amazing facts about Black Indians. My dad over there, who's 82, my mom made 83. Today, she would always tell us, and my great-grandparents always told us that we're not African, we're Indian, we're American Indian. Woo! That we're Cherokee, Mohawk, Mohegan, Blackfoot, and Yamasee. And if
you heard us say Mohican, wasn't that one of the people they met, the Mohicans? You heard us say? I'm gonna let her go down the list of the because I'm telling you, it's not just one tribe. She said Mohicans. Remember, I said, oh, like last of the Mohicans. Those are some of the original people them people found when they came over here. Look.
Who's 82, my mom made 83. Today, she would always tell us, and my great-grandparents always told us that we're not African, we're Indian, we're American Indian. Woo! That we're Cherokee, Mohawk, Mohegan, Blackfoot, and Yamasee. And if you look up the Yamasee uprising, 1715 to 1718, we tore it up. So none of those Caucasians taking over the Cherokee, the Choctaw, the Chickasaw, the Creek, they never take over Yamasee.
Now, when did you learn that you was an American Indian? When did you learn that?
When I was a child, my parents told me all my life.
Okay, let's
My
talk to your
father
father. Let's come on over here and talk to your pops.
Man, her dairy looks so
Now they want to
good.
know from you about your American Indian.
Yeah,
Could you
talk
tell
to
me
me
your
about your
family
heritage here. Are you an African or are you an American American Indian?
Native Indian down in Virginia.
Right.
Down in Virginia. There was a plantation down there with us, and ancestors.
I'm sorry, man.
Our ancestors.
No, you good.
my ancestors were all Indians down there. And then once they all died out, they sent to my Aunt Marion a letter stating that
It was on the reservation.
they're going, yes, she was on the reservation. So they wanted her to know that if she wanted to keep or sell it or keep the reservation, and she wasn't there. She was
No, because the reservation is a plantation. They were forced on the reservation. This is why they was on the reservation. If you didn't want to say that you were black, or back then there wasn't no African American. African American just came in 1990 with Jesse Jackson, and that's why he's in a wheelchair.
Correct.
Because he was running around with a Cherokee indigenous card. But my grandparents and great grandparents in Virginia, they didn't want to be accepted as black, whatever. So if you didn't, you went on a reservation to keep your native, but they was treating them so bad, they left the reservation and came.
I want to answer this question really quickly because it's a good question. Hold on. Royal Owen says, here's a question. Why are Americans considered Indians? Wouldn't it make sense that Indians were from India? Absolutely. And this is a nuanced question. Let me tell you why. The story we're told was that that Christopher Columbus and those guys named the people Indians because they thought they were in India. That's cap. Mind you, India that we know of today didn't get its name to, don't give me the line. Hold on. Don't give me the line. I want to be clear because last time I did, I was off by 20 years. Let me see when. India, the actual India, right? It became a country in 1947. So you have to understand this. And again, just because it became a country in 47 doesn't mean the people didn't exist. That's not what I'm talking about. We're talking about names and labels, right? So Colombo crazy ass thought that he was in the Indies, which is why when he landed off in Brazil and Haiti and all of that stuff, he was just like, oh my God, they gotta be Indians because we're in the Indies. But that's cap. That never happened. We called ourselves Injuns, even to this day. Injuns, here they come. We still say Injun, I-N-J-U-N, right? That's before G had even existed and had the J sound, right? It was the Injun, you know what I'm saying? I believe that they took that term Injun and said Indian, because remember, they can't speak the way that we speak. Even to this day, when they try to speak our slangs and speak the way that we speak, they can't never really get it for real. So I believe it could have been that, but it's a lot of theories going around. But that whole he thought he was in India, cap. Yo, Vu, I was trying to tell you earlier that the original African, the West Afrikaners moved down into Zululand. Then it was called South Africa. That sounds interesting, and I could believe that. Hey, George, I could believe that. I could believe that without a doubt. It makes sense. I haven't really looked into it, but you might be. I believe you. Mullah says, you don't consider us Black Americans, but do you agree with the outcome of these people that actually went to court? No, you talking about the people, the Tulsa people? Absolutely not. If that's who you're talking about, no, I don't agree with that. I think that they should have been compensated, but I understand that the government is not going to compensate them because that's an admission of guilt. Remember, these people remember seeing actual fighter jets dropping bombs on their neighborhoods. The government and a random regular schmegular Joe Schmo ain't had no fighter jet. So that automatically implicates the government, which means the government ain't about to get up here and say, oh yeah, we did do that. So no, I don't agree with that at all. I've been tracing my ancestry for a while. I recently found out my ancestors owned about 20 acres of land in Gates, North Carolina, that was stolen by a white family in the 1920s who owns it now. Girl, if you can go find your people's, you can go down to the courthouse down there and find your people paperwork, girl, y'all can go get that land back. Yes, yes, you can, baby. They have to. If you can go get your paperwork straight, go, hey, especially if you can prove they stole it, you can go get that back. You can go evict them folk. You sure can. You can go evict them, girl. I'm just, go get your paperwork in order, though. Go get your paperwork. You can go evict. That's happening literally all the time. All the time. Go get your paperwork back. You might have you 28, and you might find out the 20 really was 100. That's how it be going. You really might find out that 20 acres that was stolen is probably about 100. Because we didn't own 5 to 10 acres. Even my family had hundreds of acres of. I'm telling you. Voodoo Clear Colonizer used to get Mohawks and indigenous of New York drunk and have them sign their land over. Yes, I saw that. We're going to get into that a little bit too. Yes. You say you got somebody to help you with your documents? Good. You can go get your land back, baby. Yes, you can. As long as you can prove that you are a descendant of the people who own the land and you got your documentation of what they owned and how it was taken, you can go get it back. You can go over there and play landlord. I'm just saying.
Came to Harlem. They left. They said, we're not taking that mistreatment. And that's what happens when the $5 Indians, now they crying about the reservation. Our people left. We wasn't taking that abuse because a reservation is a plantation. We are NRI, non-reservational Indians and non-recognized because we was here before.
We live. I want you to know we live. Yeah, and me, myself said them glasses are fly.
Oh. So what she was saying was about the reservation. She was saying the reservation, her family, his great aunt or whoever was on the reservation, and then she just gave it up because the reservation was like a plantation. It was them in the $5 foot loans. That was the card carrying so-called Indian, right? But the people, because originally they're like, I'm not giving up my identity, just put me on the reservation. But because it was so bad on the reservation, them people had to just say, you know what, screw it. I'll be black then. But they did it like that on purpose for that to happen. They did that just for that reason, so that people can be tired and be like, okay, I'm done. That's literally why they did it. So that's what she's explaining about the reservation. Hold on.
We had the Italians, and then we had the Koreans and the Chinese, all the business groups. Now we have the Africans. They're going to be here for a time, and then another group is going to come in because they know the only place to make money is from us. Because we don't have to send home money to nowhere in the world because we're from here. Jamaicans, Trinidadians, Africans, Mexican, they all got to send money home to build up. We're not going over there by the droves to their country. I just came back from Guatemala, up in the mountains in Chichicastenango for my 60-second solar return. Yeah, we on Harlem. I'm born 116.
Do now.
Yes, she is. Yes. Somebody black, it was fighting work.
That's right. I agree.
Now it's Black Lives Matter. 17 name changes from Native American Indians to Savage to Picnic. So like the 6th. So like I was saying, because we're working on a documentary telling untold stories about the so-called, the Black American has gone through 17 name changes from Native American Indian to Savage to Picnic to Colored to Negro. You know, in the 1950s, could you call somebody black? It was fighting work.
That's right. I agree.
Now it's Black Love, Black Lives Matter, Black this, Black that. This is black.
Look, and back in the day, the Muslims didn't play either back in the day.
No,
Right. Now, are you talking about the Nation of Islam?
The Nation of Islam.
They was yes.
Right.
We know that far, can't we?
Elijah Muhammad.
And Malcolm X.
Malcolm X.
Right.
We knew all of them. We grew up with all of them. We Harlem. I done seen all the changes of all the immigrants
me too.
that they bring in our neighborhood to try to keep us down, but they can't keep us down. We still rise to the top. When you look up the word American, it describes copper color, people, and they also reference the new so-called African American. I just want to educate y'all on what an African American is.
Say it. Tell 'em.
An African American is a 14th Amendment citizen, Executive 13037, signed by your first Black president. Black means absence of light, Bill Clinton. So when Trayvon Martin lost his case, it's because he's an African American. He is state property. Okay, and this is why when you say black, take the B off of black, you got left. You say white, take the W of white, you got high. So every time you call a Caucasian white, you heightening him, you lowering yourself. Because black, you got lack of knowledge of self, lack of intelligence, lack of who your ancestors are, lack of who you are. Because in the 50s, my mother got into a big argument with her aunt who could pass when you could pass, when it was passing. My Aunt Dave, rest in power, she called my mother black bitch. And my mother was fighting words when you call somebody black. And so now in 2024, 70 years later, y'all stuck on black. I mean, they argue you down on social media. I'm black and I'm proud. If you listen to that song with James Brown, he was forced to sing that song.
Oh, yeah?
Rioting, and that's when they killed Martin Luther King. So the Jewish music industry told him, calm these Negroes down and sing the song. If you listen to the chorus, 1968, he never sings the chorus because James Brown's Apache Indian. Okay, Apache.
Pause. Didn't I tell y'all James Brown was it was Stokely Carmichael, aka Kwame Ture, who came in with the Black Power movement in the midst of Martin Luther King trying to sit at the lunch counter with the white girl. In order to stamp that, once Marty Marr got popped, who did they call? Their puppet. And it makes sense what she just said. She said, when you listen to the song, James Brown never said I'm black and I'm proud part. It was the kids. He goes, say it loud, and the kids go, I'm black and I'm proud. You get it? Crazy, bruh. Crazy. And that was the era of my mama young age with all of that. And that was like the thing. Remember, they had the afros, they had the whole, it was a thing, like Black Panther, black, it was a thing. But like she said, James Brown was Apache Indian. He ain't never say the words. Go back and listen to it. She ain't lying. And I didn't think about it till she said it when I heard her the first time. He never did say the I'm black and I'm proud part. But when you in the industry, you have to do what they tell you to do. You don't get to make no decisions. Pocket way. What's going on, Danielle, with the 3 grandkids? Yay, but that's crazy, ain't it?
Uh-oh, you said James Brown is Apache Indian. All right, she dropping some information here,
And
y'all.
listen, they killed Sam Cooke and Redis Odin because they was going to fund Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. They owned their own publishing. They had their own airplanes and everything. We were just prisoners of war. We was never slaves. They have no ships. They got illustrations, but they got millions of pictures showing the Caucasians coming from Europe.
Sister, do you got access to a computer?
Yes, I do.
You got.
Now, MOB, you trying to be funny. Yeah, I see the tree. MOB make me sick, bruh. Thank you, Tabitha, for the super chat. Thanks for all your hard work and time. We love you. Thank you, Tabitha. I think I read these. Thank you, Virgo Girl, for becoming a member. Thank you, April LeBlanc, for the super sticker. I appreciate you. Am I missing something? I could have swore I just saw another super chat come in. I thought I did. But I saw MOB saying, Voodoo, you see the trees? Yeah, I see the trees. Barely. I mean, I could see barely. You had to take the opportunity, Lloyd. Okay, I see a tree. One tree. Girl, I still see the concrete jungle. But look, let her say a couple of more things that we're going to get off. Hold on. Then we're going to all go to something else.
Taken from here to the West Indies, then to Europe. Hear about West Africa. He said those people are different people. And this is the most important people need to know. We were taken from here to the West Indies, then to Europe. Okay, and then they took that 15,000 people went to Liberia because they souped them up to go to Liberia, and that's why you always hear that song that Michael Jackson sings. Liberian girl, you are my queen. Watch that video because everything has been in plain sight. If you watch all Italian mafia movies, they said the niggers, the Indians, same people. The movies been telling us all the time. You see in some movies, they'll say, now look at Cicely Tyson. You look her up, she's gonna be as an American. My main man, Morgan Freeman, says, I'm not no African. They want to make, he's Choctaw, straight Choctaw. He said, I'm American. Whoopi Goldberg says, I'm American because we know let me tell you, a Chinese don't say, my grandmother was Chinese. Then what are you? But
so how did we get lost? How did we forget who we are?
Because between 1924 to 1967, if you said you was Choctaw, Blackfoot, Chickasaw Creek, Yamasee, Seminole, Muskogee Creek, you were locked up. You went to jail. So they had to hide. And if like my great-grandparents in Virginia, you would either go on the reservation, and then they saw the reservation was torture, it was a plantation, so they left. But nobody has gone through that but the United States, which was a republic, and it became a corporation by the government, and the colonizer gave us black, Negro, all these names, but our people don't do their research.
What's good about this is you got your pop standing with you.
Yes,
and he
about to be 82 years young. My mother's 83 today. Shout out
and
to her.
he vouched for you. He taught you this. He taught you
all our lives. That's all we do. When I got into the Rastafari culture, my parents said, you ain't African. We ain't African. We Indian. Okay? And there's a lot of parents, but you know you young, the 90s. You remember the 90s, Harlem Hunters, at my shop on the Mart, at my Rastafari baby father, whole nine, telling my Rasta this, that, the other. But after a while, there's a great awakening because you see that what you're claiming is not you. You realize that's not me.
So let me ask Pops a question. What was the religion of your people, of our people here?
They were spiritual. They didn't have religion.
They dealt with nature.
Because
They
what
followed
happened
nature.
was the colonizer came and introduced us to religion.
And we saw that on the Papa Bull and all that. Remember they said they gotta bow to Jesus, or if not, unalive them. Thank you, MLB, for the super chat. Look at them trees. I see one or two. It ain't that much, you know what I'm saying? Type, you know. I don't know why my super chat's not coming up on the other end where I normally could see them. You guys, Bree said you sent one too. Let me scroll. Did you send it before or after MOB? Because it's not popping up where they normally pop up. There we go. I see you. Thank you, it's Bree to you for the super chat. My grandmother went to school with Jesse Jackson and his parents, and mine look like Indians. My grandmother is 95 now with pure white coiled hair, Acorn. My grandmother got pure white coiled hair too. Pure, I'm talking about white as this cup. My grandma's hair probably whiter than this. That's probably why I'm going great, child. Yeah, girl. But thank you for the super chat, and that's good. That I'm pretty sure your grandmother got some stories on Jesse. He was fine, though. I ain't gonna lie. Back in the day, Jesse Jackson was fine. I ain't gonna lie. He was fine. I don't like him, but he was fine. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Chic. I'm sorry. He was fine. Jesse was a fine man. So I can see how people get caught up. I ain't gonna lie. He was a fine man. But let's move around because I'm starting to act like the Prince of Pancoochie. You know what I mean? I don't want to turn into the Prince of Pancoochie. All right, listen. So I'm not going to play too much of that, but what I can do is drop the link to it so y'all can go watch it yourself. Now, this dude, let me see. I'll drop the link to the video so that you guys can go watch it yourself. There you go. And then I'll put the link in the chat and y'all can go finish watching. The lady spit a whole bunch of stuff and she's on TikTok too. I found her on TikTok. I just can't remember where her name was. Facebook says can't share the link because it goes against our community standards. A link, bitch? Like, girl, bye. Anyways, Facebook been getting real funny. Facebook just sent me a thing saying that they only letting people go live if they have 100 subscribers and all type of stuff. I'm like, girl, people don't even be on Facebook live like that. What you talking about? Like, people don't even be on all the old. I used to be. I don't even be on Facebook like that no more. Girl, Mark Zuckerberg could. Girl, Don't get me started. Do not get me started on Facebook, okay? Where was I? Nevertheless, let's move on. The rise and fall of New Netherlands. Let's get that up here. All right. Where's the thing at? Oh, there we go. All right. So now we're going to talk about the rise and fall of the New Netherlands, right? Didn't they say New Amsterdam was Manhattan? And New Netherlands was, we'll get to it. It'll come up. It was Martin Van Buren who couldn't keep his hands off them women's. Listen, the rise and fall of New Netherlands. It says, all I know of my ancestors commences with the first immigration from Holland who came over in 1633 and settled in what is now Rensselaer County in the state of New York. Whoever from New York, help me out. I can't get it. Martin Van Buren was the sixth generation of a pioneer family who were part of the migration of Dutch immigrants who came seeking a home outside of Europe. These Dutch families brought their lives and traditions with them to a new colony where they started the beginnings of the Dutch presence in North America. The experiment of a Dutch colony was short but had lasting implications. European background. The United Province of the Netherlands was a federal republic established by 7 Dutch provinces, which had succeeded from Spanish rule in 1579. The new nation was the first fully independent Dutch state, and by 1609 was a nation of about 3.5 million people. The inhabitants distinguished themselves by shipbuilding and world trade through the Dutch East Company and later the Dutch West India Company. While the conflict with Spain continued, the country was experiencing explosive growth. From 1600 to 1690, the Dutch Republic experienced its golden age. The age of exploration under discovery during the 15th to 17th centuries brought Europeans to numerous and unknown parts of the world, including the Western Hemisphere. European countries were exploring the coast of Africa, India, and the Orient and finding wealth in the natural resources found there. In their search for a shorter route to the east, explorers found massive amounts of resources in North America. By 1612, explorers Adam Block, Cornelis May, and Hendrik Christiansen had been exploring the east coast of North America and brought news of its rivers and resources to the Dutch East India Company. Christiansen brought expeditions of people to collect lumber, furs, and other plentiful goods back to Europe. Henry Hudson found his way up the mouth of the North River and made several trips going over 150 miles upriver. With the Spanish, French, and British making claims on lands in the newly found Americas, the Dutch began to build forts along North Hudson, South Delaware, and fresh Connecticut rivers. The forts gave them a place to anchor while collecting the produce of North American resource. Created by William Usenex, let's call him that. The Dutch West India Company encouraged people to seek land that they considered widely available for Dutch citizens to purchase from the indigenous people. New Netherland had been conceived as a private business venture to exploit the North American fur trade. By the 1650s, the colony had experienced dramatic growth and became a major port for trade in North Atlantic. At its height, about 9,000 people lived in the country of the New Netherlands. All right, so here you go. That's the New Netherlands. That's New Amsterdam. Now, is this Manhattan? Which borough is this? Is this Bed-Stuy? I'm just playing. You know what I'm saying? But here's the New Netherlands. Here's New Amsterdam. Is it really a borough though? For real? I'm not playing for real. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to see something, just out of curiosity. But anyway, moving on. The colony forms. Wealth in the United Provinces lie in the hands of landowners. Hey, that's big. Wealth in the United Provinces lie in the hands of the landowner. Wealth in the hands of anybody lie in the hands of landowners. Land and jobs were plentiful there, and people lived without fear of persecution. There had been, however, a large number of foreigners or Walloons who decided to try life in a new part of the world. This included Belgians who had moved first to the Netherlands, then to the Americas. The first 31 families arrived in the harbor of the North River in 1623 aboard the New Netherland, and by 1624, the colony of the New Amsterdam began to be formed. Soon, Dutch colonists were claiming land as far as present-day Albany, New York, as far as to include also present-day New Jersey, to Cape Henlopen, Delaware, and as far east as the Connecticut River. Cornelius May, one of the ship's captains, directed the colonizing process until being succeeded by William Verhulst. As conflicts with native tribes soon began, the West India Company needed a stronger leader, which they found in a multilingual businessman, Peter Minuit. Minuit arranged for the colonies to acquire use of the island of Manhattan and was appointed to be the first civilian director general of the New Netherland colony. Inexpensive and plentiful land was the lure that brought many Dutch to America. The colonists found wealth in animal furs, mining, farming, and trade. Through the West India Company, a colonist who organized 50 people to come to the New Netherlands would be given a special grant of land. This is very important. Within 4 years, be given special privileges as the landowner or as the owner and patroon of the land or manor. Now, this is the gag. They came over here and they was able to purchase land. The Negroes that's going run, they carry behind all the way down to Ghana ain't gonna own nothing, and they scamming them out of that. You see what I'm saying? They come over here, we selling land. We go over to Africa, and they scamming us, and we can't buy nothing. They make us think we buying land, and we can't buy a damn thing. The patroon provided land, buildings, and tools, and prepared the land for farming, and in some cases, even provided enslaved Africans. That's not Africans. They're not coming over here around this time like that. That's not Africans. He would also provide a school with a schoolmaster and perhaps even a church with clergy. Tenant farmers paid no taxes for 10 years, but were required to pay the patroon rent and percentage of that which they harvested. No farmer could sell any product without first offering it to the patroon. Once the manor became a profitable enterprise, the patroon was expected to share the profits with the tenants. The patroon was required to give a 5% duty on exports of the West India Company. Some tenants were actually bonded to their patroons and could not move to a different estate or town. This effectively gave the patroon feudal rights over the colonists. The patroon system was successful in bringing people to the New Netherlands, but the feudal system soon became unpopular. Let me also say this. The land that they purchased were purchased illegally, okay? The land that these people got were purchased illegally because the person who sold them the land didn't have the right to sell it anyway. And we're going to get into it. Tenant farmers began selling their harvest independently and were refusing to pay the patroon what was due. Mind you, once they started getting their land and getting their colonies, they started creating patroons. And in the patroon, one of the things was, hey, you can live here, you can farm here, but you got to give us a percentage and you can't leave. You got to stay. But they said people was started selling their harvest to other people independently. It says Director General Minuit was expected to enforce the West India Company's rules by failing to do so. In 1631, he was recalled to the provinces. The only manor that came reasonably close to being a success was I can't pronounce it, established by Amsterdam diamond merchant Klein van Rensselaer in what are now Albany and Rensselaer counties in New York. Farmers such as Cornelius Messen came to Rensselaer's and took out a contract with Van Rensselaer. Meissen worked his contract for 3 years and acquired land of his own. Now with his own farm to live, Meissen with his wife and son made New Netherlands their permanent home. Cornelius Messen was third great-grandfather to the president Martin Van Buren. Okay? So Martin Van Buren His great granddaddy was Meissen. Let's call him Meissen. Meissen was a person who was indentured servant on the Providence and was able to get his own acres and then stayed there. Now, his great grandson is going to be the president, Martin Van Buren. Commander Peter Hayes bought a colony of 30 settlers to Delaware Bay in April 1631. Hayes landed his people a few miles above Cape Henlopen, built a brick house, and called the area Swannendale. Is that what it is? Swannendale. It included a tract of land, 12 miles square, that he had purchased from the local tribes. Farming began the land until misunderstandings with the tribes over land ownership resulted in violent conflicts until every one of the Dutch settlers had been massacred. That area became the southern Delaware that was left largely abandoned for nearly 20 years. Okay, so the indigenous people realized that these folks are settling on land and they're not doing it right, and they ended up having a war where they basically wiped out all of them. They say the land was vacant for 20 years. Now here comes the Swedish invasion. William Usenex, I'm gonna call him that, had witnessed the Swedish West India Company chartered in 1626. Swedish Empire King Gustavus Adolphus had his own ambitions in North America, but needed an intermediary to direct him to the colonization. With the king dying in combat in the 30 Years' War, his 6-year-old granddaughter, Christina, became the reigning monarch. She continued her father's ambitions. Samuel Blommaert was a director of the Dutch West India Company who had ideas on forming his own colony within the New Netherland colony. He contacted none other than Peter Minuit. Minuit, still resentful from losing his position with the West India Company. Remember, they fired his ass because he couldn't keep the people from stop selling outside the patroon. He made a plan with Blommaert, and in March of 1638, Minuit led a flotilla of Swedish immigrants into the South River and proclaimed the colony of New Sweden on the abandoned land that would become northern Delaware, southern New Jersey, and southeastern Pennsylvania. As colonizing continued north and west, Minuit received notice from Director General William Kieft that they would have to leave. Minuit, knowing that Kieft had no force to back up his order, largely ignored him. Kieft contacted the West India Company, which in dealing with its own unhappy colonists was not able to send a force to instruct Kieft to leave or to settle things with the Swedes as amicably as he could. Immigration by the Dutch and Swedish continued with conflicts breaking out between the two. Fortifications were built to protect properly, but changed hands more than once. Ultimately, control of the Delaware, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania areas remained under Dutch authority, with Dutch and Swedish settlers continued to populate the southern area. Swedes were living there, but the colony of New Sweden lasted only 17 years. The Swedish presence influence in North America remained to this day. All right. Let me see if I want to read this. All right, hold on. Let me go down. Native conflicts. This is where we want to go. The relationship between the Dutch and indigenous people were tense from the beginning, as they were most contacts, as they were where most contacts were made. Europeans needed the native tribes to develop the trade they wanted to bring to Europe. In the early years of Dutch expeditions, contact was largely peaceful, as in most of the colonies. The tribes within New Netherlands contracted the diseases Europeans carried and lost large numbers of their population. They said it was smallpox, but it wasn't. They said salmonella that brought them over here, because they say, I didn't say it, this is what they said. They say the clear people be sleeping with their animals. They used to sleep with their animals and eat with them and all of that, and they gave them salmonella. So I know they say that they had the blankets with the smallpox in it, but allegedly, I didn't say it. This is what they said. They said that it was actually salmonella because the clear people were sleeping with the animals and eating with them and all of that. I'm just telling y'all what they said. Anyways, where was I? Local tribes, however, were periodically at war with other tribes and looked to Europeans for help. This created new enemies for the Dutch. Hendrik Christiansen had started the building of Fort Amsterdam and Fort Nassau, and Peter Minuit had arranged for the use of the island of Manhattan. Acquisition of the land distrust grew from that. Acquisition of land and distrust grew from there. Okay. It says by 1638, conflicts ensued that became more and more violent. Kep's War from 1643 to 1645 became such a deadly affair, it drove many farmers off their farms and into the nearest fort for protection. William Kep was the Director General and was attacking tribes despite West India Company orders not to. Kep was recalled, but in 1655, the Peachtree War started that unified many tribes and led to more damage. In 1660, Esopus War, broke out, which were demoralizing enough to begin the failure of the colony. So what's going on? Let me finish the last paragraph. While economics in New Netherland would rise and fall, as colonists would agree and refuse to abide by West India Company rules, as life continued in the colony, England and the United Provinces were preparing for war. During 1652 to 1654, the first of three 17th century Anglo-Dutch wars began at sea over commercial shipping rights. The first wars caused a great deal of damage to both countries, with neither gaining much from the conflict. The war had prompted a drive-by both countries to grow. The war had prompted a drive by both countries to grow their possessions in the Western Hemisphere. England was now challenging the Netherlands and their colonies. So what's happening is the indigenous people have band together and they went down to fight. I'm sorry, y'all. So the indigenous people have band together. They want to fight. They go into war. The people told, what's his name? Let me scroll back up because I know we talked about Kep and Minuit. The West India Company had told Minuit, hey, stand down. Don't mess with them indigenous people. Let them be. But he did what he wanted to anyway. And then they couldn't send no reinforcements in there to stop him because they was fighting their own wars because the indigenous people fought back. That's the reason why they put you as a slave and make you docile and put you in the church. Because when we were not in the church and we were not when we were not the people who were worshiping the white Jesus and all of that, we actually fought. That's why they keep us indoctrinated the way they do. That's literally why they keep us indoctrinated the way they do. And they were not winning. Remember, whenever they would actually win, it's when they would get reinforcements, either other Indian tribes or other people to come in and help them. But like on some one-on-one type stuff, they wasn't winning. All right. End of an era. Violent conflicts with Susquehannock, Esopus, and the Algonquin and Haudenosaunee tribes over land encroachment and theft became a threat to the stability of the colony. Most of the people found it necessary to abandon their homes and return to the United Provinces. At the same time, English colonization was moving closer to the east. Corruption, the constant threat of war, ineptitude and governing, and a dysfunctional economic system were cause for the colony to fail. The West India Company was approaching bankruptcy, and the colonists began to seek protection within colonial fortifications. English warships began to surround the colonial center at New Amsterdam. With no other options available, Director General Peter Stuyvesant surrendered the colony to English forces in 1664, without anyone firing a shot in anger. The 40-year attempt at a Dutch republic in North America had come to an end. Dutch culture, language, and influence, however, would remain in the colony of New York for many years to come. The second chance. This appears to be the end of the story for the Dutch presence in North America, except for the Second Anglo-Dutch War that began after the British took over the New Netherlands. 9 years after giving up the colony, the Navy of the United Provinces surrounded New York City and took possession of New York, renaming it New Orange. The colony was Dutch once again, to the joy of the Dutch residents. Great Britain and the Netherlands, however, desperately needed an end to the war, and in the process of negotiation for peace, New Orange was given to Great Britain, in exchange for the colonies of the Western Hemisphere. New Orange had been a Dutch colony for only a year. So they almost won. They almost thought they was coming back, and the next thing you know, they ended up not having nothing, because they wasn't strong enough to sustain. Aftermath, the economy of British colony of New York continued as wealthy landowners took the place of Dutch patroons, and tenant farmers rejected the demands made upon them. Over 200 years, the colony of New Netherlands became the British colony of New York, which then became the independent state of New York. With independence, Dutch patroonship became English manors, and the feudal system was abolished. Throughout all of these changes, the relationship between landlords and tenant farmers never changed. During the early 19th century, tenant farmers were looking for legal help to defend their interests against wealthy landlords. Some found that help in the law offices of a young attorney named Martin Van Buren, who was known for defending the interests of tenant farmers. Van Buren's influence eventually prompted the state of New York to abolish the land that for 200 years had caused so much conflict among landlords and farmers. The very issue that brought down the colony of New Netherlands was the issue that launched the law career of the nation's 8th president of the United States. So the Dutch had it. They didn't really know what to do with it, to be honest. They were all over the place, and they was getting their ass kicked by the indigenous people. So they couldn't handle it by themselves. A lot of them people ended up not being able to sustain. Remember, one of the wars that the indigenous people fought back, they ended up unaliving all of them, and it left the land dry for like 20 years. But ultimately, once they did that, the Dutch tried to come back. It didn't work out because them people was fighting. Our people, our ancestors were fighting, and then here come the British. Y'all need help? Nah, we got it, bro. No, y'all need help. And then they took over everything. They took over everything. And that's where we at with it so far. So the Dutch had it. They say the culture is still up there. I don't know. I don't be up there. If y'all from New York, y'all could go figure it out. Y'all could tell me if I'm like right or wrong. But they say the culture is still up there. And then the British came and took it over. And it's been hell and high water to pay ever since. One more thing before we get into this video. I have one more thing I want to show y'all. Hold on. Oh, also, just to reiterate, they had gotten that land wrong. They had gotten that land illegally. That's the biggest reason why. That and other things. They got that land illegally, and that's one of the biggest reasons why the people rebelled, because they was like, you gave them an inch and they ran a mile type tease. Okay. Is that it? No, I ain't got it over there. All right. I'm sorry, y'all. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to get my receipts in order. Okay. Y'all like the video since we're here. If you haven't already, please like the video. Please like the video. Please like the video. Please like the video. No. Nope, not that one. I guess we'll just go to the video. Let me just go to the video then. All right. So I wanted to show you guys something. Hold on. I wanted to show you guys something. Hold on, let me find the timestamp. I'm gonna run that intro again so you guys can like the video. And I'll come right back. I'm just trying to find the timestamp. So I'm gonna run the intro one more time to find the timestamp. You guys like the video really quickly, and we'll be able to get back into it. All right.
Mic check 1 2 1 2. We live, baby. Come on. That's right. Okay. Can you hear me now? Oh, let's go. It's your boy Big Chew, the voice of the beat.
You know what I want?
Blaze up.
Come on, Blaze.
It's the beat for me.
Wah 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 for your guy, for your B-O-Y. Drop it for your guy, for your B-O-Y. Do it for your guy, for your B-O-Y. Come on, baby, we live. For your boy, for your boy, also for your boy, fix it for your boy. Drop it for your wah 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 lift it up, Benny bust it open, lift it up, yeah. Come on, lift it up, Benny bust it open for your B-O-Y. Benny, for your rockin' for your lift it up, baby. Mix it with your bust or not.
Come on, Blaze. So you know.
Drop me a nasty beat.
All right, we back, y'all. We're back. I hope you guys like the video. Please like the video. Please like the video. Please like the video. I'm trying to get to this time. Oh, I know where it's at. I already know where it's at. All right. I'm going to share my screen. All right. You guys take a look at this. Shout out to UBTV. Shout out to UBTV. I want to play a little snippet of this video. This is from his Lost at Home series, which is super dope. All his series are dope though, but I want to show y'all this.
The books we read in school often report complete fallacies about history, sometimes by mistake, but often by design. We have always been taught that among the ways the Indians were subdued into catastrophe was due to the diseases brought by Europeans. Of those diseases, one mentioned most commonly is smallpox. However, according to several modern and ancient forensic geneticists and anthropologists, the real cause was never smallpox. The real disease Europeans brought to the Americas was salmonella, which is a literal horse of a different color. These studies were conducted from the ruins of the Aztec Empire, and specimens taken by several teams of scientists have concluded that salmonella was behind the deaths of over 80% of the indigenous population. Europeans lived in close proximity with animals, sharing the same food and sleeping in the same quarters. Salmonella is a consequence of cross-contamination. Animal to human intracellular pathogens that Europeans were quite immune, yet proved to be fatal to to Indians.
You know what's so crazy about that? Remember I told y'all the neighbor brought Saint home and she was tongue kissing on Saint? And I'm over here saying, ugh. To this day, they do that. To this day, they do that. Like literally to this day, they be kissing on animals and whatnot. That makes more sense as to why a lot of people fell off. Because like they be having the dogs on the table and girl, I wish Saint would. Okay.
The outbreak, once contracted by the Indians, was a death sentence and also extremely contagious. The feral epidemic transferred from Europe was zoological in nature. In a realm of spirits, they were the beasts who sought to destroy, kill, and conquer by any depraved scheme necessary. There was no measure of righteousness within their intentions. Only wrath, gluttony, pride, greed, and lust were their aims. They thirsted for pleasure and relished the opportunity to enslave the children of Israel. We have all heard the story about how Christopher Columbus thought he was sailing to India, but ran into the West Indies and started calling them Indians because he thought he was an Indian. Well, as we got older and learned more, or so we thought, more about history, we begun to adopt any reason whatsoever to discredit Christopher Columbus from the discovery of America. But somewhere lost in the manufactured rhetoric is a complete lie, which is the implication that Columbus had no idea where he was going or what he was doing is a complete lie.
And remember I told y'all, remember we showed y'all Dane Calloway, shout out to Dane Calloway. He showed us that that's a whitewashed picture of Christopher Columbus. He was actually a melanated man. He was absolutely a melanated man, without a doubt. I believe it. But they got to make that plays into the race card that they want us down at the bottom to scrap over. Does that make sense? But yeah, y'all check this out. It's funny that they
Not only did Columbus know exactly where he was going, he had a specific purpose and mission to enslave the children of Israel and capture Jerusalem. Columbus was on an well-acknowledged religious crusade. First conceived in the year 1452 by Pope Nicholas, the trip to the supposed New World had already been written into law over 40 years before the first records of conquistador Western exploration began to emerge in the historical record. But in the Moorish historical record, trade had been established by Muslims in the Americas as early as the year 932. So if the Moors had known about the Americas at least since 932, and the Moors were run out of Spain in 1491, how is it possible that the kingdoms of Rome and Spain and Portugal had no knowledge of the Americas? The classical historical narrative even states that the
this is why when people be saying this is why when people be saying, oh, we're Moors, no, we not. Nah, you might be, I'm not. I ain't no Moor. Okay. The Moors were the people who were traveling back and forth from Africa to Europe and then to America, but they were also the traders. That I correct people every time. I ain't no Moor. You can go be a Moor. I ain't no Moor. Okay. They are turncoats. Huh? Okay. They are turncoats. That's exactly what they are, B-Dub. I ain't no more. And I'm not saying that I would probably have zero ancestry to it, but if it is, it's just a small bit. I ain't no more. Because if the Moors were trading back and forth since 900 BC, how in the hell was they over there with the conquistadors and they didn't never, girl, stop it. And they never said, hey, yo, y'all heard about this land over here? Think about it. Let's use logic. We don't have to know history. We just got to know logic. If it was the Moors on the boat with the European and the Negropeans, right? So if the Moors were the ones showing them where it was, you think it took from 900 BC to 1451 1451 to tell them about the land? Stop it. Stop it. It's just common sense and logic at some point.
Vikings settled in Vinland in the year 1000 and went on to conquer several areas throughout Europe, including Kiev and the Iberian Peninsula. How could the same bloodlines that ruled Europe have no knowledge of a land that had been settled by their ancestors 500 years before? Quite simply, it's all lies. These people are all family. All are in cahoots to keep us in the dark. But why do they want to keep us all in the dark? What does our ignorance have to do with their prosperity?
And let me say this part too. One of the best ways they were able to trick us is by making us believe everybody black are the same. Remember, they only teach us that. They don't teach that to them. We the only ones that's in the law, that's lost. We the only ones believe everybody black. So I remember, even me, I remember when I realized some of the Negropeans and I started seeing Negro or black statues and artifacts found in Europe and Russia. I was like, oh snap, we all over the place. We. That ain't we. That ain't we. Because them people didn't do us no good. Them people is part of the reason that we're here where we are today. Just because they have the same melanin that we have don't necessarily mean that that is us. And that doesn't mean at all that these people had our best interests at heart. Mula, I'm talking about the Moors and even other melanated people. When Putin pulled out that black Jesus, and all the Negroes went crazy. First of all, I was confused as to why y'all went crazy. Not y'all, but why the Negroes went crazy, because we already knew that. Secondly, how does that help us? How does a melanated Jesus help us? Remember, the Jesus was part of the thing that you had to take on, your ancestors had to take on in order to survive. If not, they were unalived. So we didn't volunteer to say, okay, we weren't already doing Jesus before they got here. They brought him near. So they bring him here, force it on our ancestors, the ones who didn't fight back. And even the ones who took on the Jesus ideology, they ended up being slaves anyway. Like, Jesus is not. I before all of this, I didn't do religion. But yeah, let me just leave it at that. I've always knew in my spirit something wasn't right with that religion. I don't care which one it is. I always knew as a little girl, this ain't right, this ain't right. This I've always. So maybe it's the ancestors telling me from a little girl. I don't know.
An Indian who is as bad as the white men could not live in our nation. He would be put to death and be eaten up by the wolves. The white men are bad schoolmasters. They carry false looks and deal in false actions. They smile in the face of the poor Indian to cheat him. They shake them by the hand to gain their confidence, to make them drunk, to deceive them, and ruin our wives. We told them to let us alone, but they followed on and beset our paths. And they coiled themselves among us like the snake. They poisoned us by their touch. We are not safe. We lived in danger. We were becoming like them. Hypocrites and liars, adulterers, lazy drones, all talkers, and no workers. As for baptizing Indians and Negroes, several of the white people disapprove of it because they say it often makes them proud and not so good servants. But
my bad.
drones, all talkers, and no workers. As for baptizing Indians and Negroes, several of the white people disapprove of it because they say it often makes them proud and not so good servants.
Pay attention.
But these and such objections are easily refuted, for Christianity encourages and orders them to become more humble and better servants, and not worse than they were when they were heathens. Quote from historian Jack D. Forbes. In 1719, South Carolina decided who should be an Indian for tax purposes, since American Indian slaves were taxed at a lesser rate than African slaves. The act stated, quote, and for preventing all doubts and scruples that may arise, what ought to be rated on musties, mulattoes, etc., all such slaves are not entirely Indian shall be accounted as Negro, end quote. Forbes found this to be significant. He said that at the time, musties and mulattoes were considered persons of Native American ancestry, he wrote. My judgment, to be discussed later, is that a mustee was primarily part African and American Indian, and that a mulatto was usually part European and American Indian. This act also significant because it asserts that part American Indians with or without African ancestry should be counted as Negroes, thus having an implication for all later slave censuses.
Pause. Are y'all tracking this? Are y'all tracking this? Because see, at one point, listen to me good. At one point, it was very complex, race and status, right? Because they were trying to figure it out. Now it's very diluted. Now, Black American is the African, but that's done by the purpose. I mean, by research. I mean, by design. That's done like that for a purpose. It says, historically in the American South, the term mulatto was also applied at times to persons with mixed Native American and African American ancestry, right? For example, 1705 Virginia statute reads as follows. And for clearing all manners of doubts which hereafter may happen to arise upon the construction of this act of any other act, who shall be accounted a mulatto, be it enacted and declared, and it is hereby enacted and declared that the child of an Indian and the child, grandchild, or great-grandchild of a Negro shall be deemed accountable, deemed accounted, held, and taken to be a mulatto. So they were saying here that they were trying to dilute, take it back a smidgen. All right, let me run it back a little bit more. Let me run it back.
They coiled themselves among us like the snake. They poisoned us by their touch. We are not safe. We lived in danger. We were becoming like them. Hypocrites and liars, adulterers, lazy drones, all talkers, and no workers. As for baptizing Indians and Negroes, Several of the white people disapprove of it because they say it often makes them proud and not so good servants. But these and such objections are easily refuted, for Christianity encourages and orders them to become more humble and better servants, and not worse than they were.
You get it? Some of the clear said we don't like them being baptized because they get too proud. But then it was contrary because they was like, no, let them get baptized and make them humble servants and make them more humble and willing to wait on God. You know how we be doing now?
When they were heathens. Quote from historian Jack D. Forbes. In 1719, South Carolina decided who should be an Indian for tax purposes, since American Indian slaves were taxed at a lesser rate than African slaves. The act stated, quote, and for preventing all doubts and scruples that may arise, what ought to be rated on musties, mulattoes, etc., all such slaves are not entirely Indian shall be accounted as Negro. End quote.
Okay, pause. Before he move on, he says musties, mulattoes, and Indians all accounted. Mixed people should just automatically go into the realm of the Negro. That's what we do now, kind of like the one drop rule. You confused, B-Dub? What's going on? B-Dub says she confused. Let me know if you have a question. Right now, they're trying to figure out this race thing, right? They're trying to figure out status. And what they're saying is if you're not a full-blooded Indian, anything else with a drop of anything that has anything to do with Indian, you just a Negro. Mulatto, musty. And remember, the musty, he gonna talk about it, is the Indian. Let me let him see it.
Forbes found this to be significant. He said that at the time, musties and mulattoes were considered persons of Native American ancestry. He wrote, my judgment, to be discussed later, is that a musty was primarily part African and American Indian, and that a mulatto was usually part European and American Indian.
Pause. A musty is an African and an Indian. A mulatto is a European and an Indian. Let's say it again. A musty was an African and an Indian. That's a musty. An African and an Indian mix. A mulatto was a European and an Indian mix. That's our modern day biracial. So right now, if I were to go sleep, like Tasha K's children would be musties. Does that make sense? Right now, Tasha K's children would be labeled as a musty if they existed back then. Because Tasha K would be Indian if she's Acorn, and her husband is an African. So that her kids, when you think of what is a musty, think of Tasha K and her husband. Both melanated people, but she's an Indian and he's an African. Now, this tells me that they know that there's a huge difference, because if there wasn't a difference, why would you have to create a name? Wouldn't they be the same? Again, we the only ones don't know that we the same, that we're not the same. They've always known. They've always known. So let me run it back just a little bit.
Forbes found this to be significant. He said that at the time, musties and mulattoes were considered persons of Native American ancestry. He wrote, my judgment, to be discussed later, is that a musty was primarily part African and American Indian, and that a mulatto was usually part European and American Indian. This act also significant because it asserts that part American Indians with or without African ancestry should be counted as Negroes.
Boom. All right. An African and an Indian is a musty. A mulatto is a European and an Indian.
Part European and American Indian. This act also significant because it asserts that part American Indians with or without African ancestry should be counted as Negroes.
So anybody who have any sort of Indian, American Indian, copper color, indigenous people, you are Negro. I don't care if you was part Indian, full Indian. I don't care if you mix with the European. I don't care if you mix with the African. I don't care if you mix with the ground. If you got a drop of Negro in you or indigenous American Indian, you are considered a Negro.
Thus having an implication for all later slave censuses.
Mm-hmm.
End quote.
The biggest reason why we think that the indigenous people look like this is because of movies and entertainment. Y'all know that, right? This is why we associate the Black American with the slave and the Native American with this, with these damn actors. I told you entertainment is used. Never mind. Go ahead. Whole time he playing Native American and he a whole Italian. He playing Native American on the TVs and he a whole Italian. You can't make this up. Watch.
Some people have a deep, abiding respect for the natural beauty that was once this country. And some people don't. People start pollution. People can stop it.
This the gag, y'all. He not even a $5 Indian. He's an Italian playing Indian. You can't. He not even a $5 Indian. At least the $5 Indians, they like Mongolians and, you know, kind of got Asiatic and, you know. This is a whole Italian man playing a $5 Indian. Clear as day.
Right for Pollution Booklet, Box 1771, Radio City Station, New York.
An Indian man with a lace front.
Old Iron Eyes Cody, aka the Crying Indian. Iron Eyes Cody.
Meek, you said it. You said it, Meek. Hold on. Let me go get your comment. Yeah, y'all remember the Crying Indian? Meek said it though. Makes sense to sell the idea of the $5 visual. That's the point. That's why when you tell another Negro that you indigenous to the land, they look at you like you crazy because they grew up with the image of Crying Indian. I'm telling you, that's advertisement. Television and entertainment is done just for that purpose. For it it's to educate you. That's literally why they do it. Oh crap. I done went too far back. Hold on. I pressed the wrong button. My bad, y'all. Let's get the Crying Indian back on here, girl. Girl, he looks so bad too. And he a whole Italian spaghetti eating ass mother.
Right for Pollution Booklet, Box 1771, Radio City Station, New York.
Old Iron Eyes Cody, aka the Crying Indian. Iron Eyes Cody is known for being the face of an American Indian.
Don't that make you just want to windmill? I ain't gonna lie, like it just be making me just want to start windmilling with my head down. I don't care. Like
With over 30 movies and television shows to his credit, he became the face of an American Indian.
How are you, Iron Eyes? You look great. How have you been?
Oh, I'm doing fine.
Iron Eyes, your father, Silent Films. His name was
Plume Cody. Thomas Plume Cody.
Thomas Plume Cody. Do you remember at the first, he was a technician for, he was a technical
MGM
advisor at MGM Studios?
Yeah, he brought me out here when I was about almost 8 years old to teach a boy in a thing called Squaw Man with Lupe Velez, and she's gonna marry.
And the wig is really what blows me, because I know people weren't really paying attention back then, but the wig. Think back to if you was alive when you seen him on TV, or if you seen him later on in life, I know you want to slap yourself across the face, because I did too. That wig don't even look convincing now that you think about it. Look at the wig, girl. He probably was a ball, meatball eating, you know what, SOB under that wig. Iron Eyes Cody. His pa got him that role. His pa was an exec. Girl, they played in our face. Girl, they played in our face. Bald head, pesto, pasta eating girl.
English women.
Although surprising as it may sound, old Iron Eyes wasn't actually a Native American. In fact, it came out later that he was of Italian ancestry.
Many films.
Oh, yes.
John
I made
Wayne.
about 8 with John Wayne. At Republic Studio, about 8. About 4 of them with.
I wonder how they could have ever figured that out.
And I did a series with Randolph Scott. Yeah.
Working with these great stars, looking back at your career.
Oh, I like them all. They treated me perfect. I liked them all. I was never shy. I was one of them guys that speak up. You know, I like what I'm saying. You know.
And said she was a child. All right, we're gonna give you, because look, that's how they do it with the churn. That's how they do it with the churn. So, Ange, you right. We got to give you grace. You was a child. You didn't notice the wig was falling off as he was doing the interview. So I get it. But now that you grown, Ange, I know you over here saying them people really played in my face. Girl, look at the wig. If you don't look at nothing else, let's forget the skin tone, forget the Italian nose, forget all of this, child. Look at the wig. If you don't look at nothing else, Lord, look at the wig. Don't it make you want to go back and knock your own self in the back of the head and say, girl, that ain't no goddamn. For real. These people really done played in our face. Girl, they ain't even try. This clear man with full black wig, girl. This worse than Tyler Perry, that man. This is worse than Tyler Perry. This is ridiculous. It's worse than Tyler Perry, girl. I hate it for us. I hate that we even sat down and looked at this man. But he was in a movie. Girl, them people really played in our face, girl.
There was no racial, no problems at all.
What?
I was never
Did she
nervous.
just say what I thought she said?
I was never nervous in anything I did. All the 5 movies I made with Disney, like Honey Goes to Camp 3 years ago, I did all of that, not nervous, and I got a bad back.
200 films you've done,
I got 285 films.
285.
That's definitely more than 30.
Drinking. Did you guys used to drink together?
I knew him when
Cody managed to keep up this ruse throughout most of his professional career. He denied being Italian until his death.
He had to.
However, after he died, it was revealed that he was not a Native American at all.
Fox picked him up, took him over to Fox. I'm over there with Fox with him, whatever. Then I went forward with him, whatever thing. John was a guy that.
Iron Eyes Cody, born Espera Oscar de Corti, April 3rd, 1904. He got up out of here January 14th, 1999. Was an Italian-American actor. He portrayed Native Americans in Hollywood films, famously as Chief Iron Eyes in Bob Hope's The Paleface, 1948. He also played a Native American, shedding a tear about litter in one of the country's most well-known television public service announcements, Keeping America Beautiful. Living in Hollywood, he began to insist even in his own private life, that he was Native American, over time claiming membership in several different tribes. In 1996, Cody's half-sister said he was of Italian ancestry, but he denied. It says after his death, he was revealed that he was, in fact, can I say that right? He was of Sicilian percentage and no Native American at all. Look at that. He was hired by his pa to play a role. And you know, they say after you lie to yourself about something so much, you begin to believe your own lies. That's what we're looking at. That's what we're looking at. When you lie to yourself about something so much for a long period of time, you begin to believe the lie. That's where we at. I believe in 96, he really believed he was a Native American. Hell, he had been playing one for 50 years. I believe I was a Native American too. We still thinking we African. So it makes sense. Cap, but again, and I ain't gonna hold y'all too longer. Again, it's purposely done like that. That's done on purpose. So you can go and say that can't be me because I Cody don't look like me. I look more like the African. When in true identity, we really don't. We really don't. It's just that we both melanated. That's it. Cody was hired to do a job. It wasn't just him. It was another clear woman played Pocahontas. All of these things. The Pocahontas, even in the cartoon, was barely melanated. Barely. You know what I'm saying? But they do that for mental and social programming. That's what that's for. So when you go to see something that shows you otherwise, your brain automatically rejects it because you've already seen what it was. That's why slavery is so heavy in our community as far as the belief of it, because we've been seeing it since the 60s, or learning about it since the 60s, and seeing it since the 80s with roots. They remind us every doggone Black History Month, hey girl, you were slaves. Yeah, that's how I go. Arthur, yeah, I'm gonna probably go on TikTok tonight. It depends. I'll probably be on there. Oh yeah, that's big. The whole Dancing with Wolves, yes, Atomic. The whole Dancing with Wolves movie helped to promote the lies. That's what they do. When Kwame Ture, aka Stokely Carmichael, came out and said Black Power, let me go get it. Because y'all got to see it in first with your third eye. Hold on. Let me show y'all. I'm going to show you. I want to show y'all something. And I'm going to show you from Carmichael's own words, where he spoke about how he was able to start the whole Black Power movement, okay? This is extremely important. He's going to tell you the steps he had to take in order. He said he's going to say, oh, well, they wanted me to do it at this time. And I said, wait, not yet. And they over here saying, no, you got to do it at this time. He said, no, not yet. And then when he did it, watch him. Hold on. Let me get him up here. Get up here, Stoke. Pause. I want you to hear this. You have to hear this. And you have to see it and you have to hear it. This is extremely important. If this live, for some odd reason, they make me edit out this part, all unedited content is on Rumble, you guys. So if you ever see a live that's on here and it's edited out and you don't see the live chat, that means it's edited. Go to Rumble. It's on there for free. You know what I'm saying? But let me show y'all something. Look at Stokely Carmichael. He telling you what the hell was going on without telling you what the hell was going on. People.
To use the term Black Power, SNCC had already decided this before the march. It must be properly understood. We decided to use the march for an education purpose. Number one, we wanted to push strongly our struggle against the war in Vietnam. So if people will look clearly at the merit of the march, you will see anti-Vietnam propping up here. King wasn't using it then, but you will see this is one of the areas where we started to hit him with it seriously. Our march was to put strong nationalism in, to have direct leadership from us, and of course, to throw out Black Power for the mass of the people. Now, I myself had been in Greenwood, Mississippi since early '60. I'd worked in the project there, and when the head of the—
Mind you, just for the people who don't know what I'm talking, who don't know why I have an issue with Stokely Carmichael, is because he's implementing all this stuff, and the fact of the matter is, he ain't even from Acorn. He from Trinidad. What you over here dealing with the people in the South or the Negroes in the South? You from Trinidad. You ain't from here. Why is you here, Ike? Why is you here? He ain't even from Acorn. I squint my eyes at Mr. Carmichael. He one of the main reasons why you call yourself Black today. He ain't even from Acorn. He came from Trinidad, grew up with the Juice and the Italians, and then all of a sudden found his way down in Mississippi. Stop it. Coincidentally, he just so happened to find himself down in Mississippi, even though he didn't grow up with no Negroes. He grew up with the Clears. He grew up with the Clears. He went to school with the Clears. He ain't had nothing to do with no Negroes. He was the token Black boy. And all of a sudden, he just finds himself in the South in Mississippi and all of that stuff, hollering about some goddamn Black Power. Op. And I said it. Op. Op. You not telling me nothing otherwise. Because when he was hollering Black Power, them elders was saying Black. Oh, no, we don't do that. That's fighting words like the lady showed you earlier. Girl, I'm telling you.
The second congressional district, this was our base. So I had spent time in the jail in Greenwood so many times. The police knew me, the police chief knew me, everyone in the town knew me. So we decided Greenwood, it was SNCC's strongest.
If you pay attention to how he talks, you can hear his accent. You know that, right? It comes out later in life. Like when he do other interviews, you can really, really hear it. But if you really pay attention to the way he talks, he got an accent like he from Trinidad. No cap.
Based in the Delta. We couldn't go wrong. Unfortunately for the police, we went to set up some tents there, and the police decided to arrest me. Okay, so before I was arrested, we were discussing Greenwood. This is where we will launch Black Power. So when I got arrested, Ricks was on the side there when the police said, let them arrest you. We'll get you out of jail and you come out and make the speech tonight. And he disappeared. Well,
pause. They over there plotting, and his partner said, hey, the police already there, arrest him. They said, hey, let him arrest you. This ain't just coincidence. The police said, his partner said, hey, let him arrest you. We gonna get you out and then you can come make the speech. Plotting, yes, Latoya. That's what they were doing. Plotting. And we so in emotion at the time. We so much in our emotions at the time because the world for us was just what we thought was going topsy-turvy. We don't even realize that they really playing in our face. Like for real, they really playing in our face. Didn't we go over this with Rosa? Didn't they stage her there? Let's get him on here though. Let's let him finish. They told him, hey, go get arrested. We gonna get you out. That way you can come do the speech tonight. It's gonna add a little oomph to the speech because they gonna know you just got out of jail. Do. Look, it's the same thing they do on social media today. Look.
You know how Rick speaks. So anyway, I went to jail. But I was brought out, and when I was released, it was at night. The speech was going on. And when I came to the speech, I was on the line. Ricks came back. He said, we have everything prepared. We're ready for Black Power. We've spoke about it all day. We've primed up the people. And luckily for us, our biggest problem was Martin Luther King, because I knew that once Black Power was said, Martin Luther King would have to come, not fight against it, but with his best try to give reasonings to water it down. But
mind you, Mike wasn't here for the Black Power thing. He even met with Stokely Carmichael and said, what is this Black Power stuff? Because Mike was like, that's the dumbest shit I ever heard. But then he said, you know what, let me hear him out. Met with him and still was like, nah, because we not Black. So Stokely, after going to jail on purpose, decides it's time to come out. Well, he don't decide, but it's all plotted and put up there. He comes out. What did he say? They got the audience all primed. You get it? That's what he said. He said they got the audience all primed and ready to go. Watch.
Luckily for us, the night in Greenwood, King had to go to do a taped television thing, I think, for Meet the Press. So he had to go to Memphis. So he was not there the night in Greenwood. Riggs had everybody primed. He said, just get to your speech. We're going against freedom now. We're going for black power. Don't hit too much on freedom now, but hit the need for power. So we built up on the need for power. And just when I got there, before I got it, Riggs was there saying, hit him now, hit him now. I kept saying, give me time, give me time. When we finally got him, we dropped it, black power. Of course, they had been primed and they responded immediately. But
pause. Do you see the freaking play? Martin was for freedom now. He was for black power. Martin ain't want nothing to do with freedom now to dealing with his black power. Mind you, Stokely was the one sent there by the powers that be. And Martin was like, where does this nigga come from? But all right, bet. When he started talking that black power stuff and created SNCC and all that, Martin was like, Mike was like, I don't know about this nigga. You know what I'm saying? So coincidentally, Martin wasn't going to be there. And this is where he get to implement black power. Now, he said out of his own mouth, the audience was already primed. It was already primed. And it was his time and his part to say it now. He said, no, not yet. Say it right now. No, not yet. And he said it at the perfect time. By the time he said it, it was already said and done because they were already, hey, I'm going to let him say it.
Power. And just when I got there, before I got it, Riggs was there saying, hit him now, hit him now. I kept saying, give me time, give me time. When we finally got him, we dropped it, black power. Of course, they had been primed and they responded immediately. But I myself, to be honest, I didn't expect that enthusiastic response, you know? And the enthusiastic response obviously not only shocked me, but gave me more energy to carry it on further. By the time we got down that night, SCLC was running around everywhere. We knew it was finished. We had made our victory. They could not bring it back. It was over.
When he said SCLC, by the time they came by, it was already over. He talking about the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. That's Mike and them. Remember, they didn't want that infiltrated in their stuff. He's saying, hey, by the time they came back, it was already what it was. So they couldn't even say nothing about it. Look.
For power. And just when I got there, before I got it, Riggs was there saying, hit him now, hit him now. I kept saying, give me time, give me time. When we finally got him, we dropped it, black power. Of course, they had been primed and they responded immediately. But I myself, to be honest, I didn't expect that enthusiastic response, you know? And the enthusiastic response obviously not only shocked me, but gave me more energy to carry it on further. By the time we got down that night, SCLC was running around everywhere. We knew it was finished. We had made our victory. They could not bring it back. It was over. To
a foreigner. A foreigner is one of the main reasons why we still running around here hollering we black. A foreigner. Yep. A foreigner is one of the main reasons why we still running around here hollering black, bliggity black. You can't make this up. He ain't even from Acorn. And he out here is the reason why we around here saying we black. Look, you want to see it in real time?
Now we have two psychological battles that we're fighting against white folk. We won one. They told us that we should hate Malcolm X. We dumped that. Thank God.
Hey, you notice how his accent was a little different? I'm going to rewind him up a little bit. But he sounded a little more American, Southern. You feel what I'm saying? He was a little more different. The accent wasn't as accent. It wasn't accenting the way it was in that last video. Listen. The accent was different when he was giving the speech that he was cosplaying. Look.
Now we have two psychological battles that we're fighting against white folk. Mm-hmm. We won one. They told us that we should hate Malcolm X. We dumped that. Thank God. Now, the second battle that we're now fighting is whether or not we will have the right to use the terms to decide how our movement is going to go. They don't want us to use black power. I got news for them. Because what black power was supposed to do was to start bringing black people together under a slogan that everyone understood. But what in fact is done is it's organized white people and their Negro allies.
Mind you, at this time, he's counteracting everything Martin was going for. They both was ops at the time, to be honest, but he's counteracting every single thing Martin was going for. That was his job, to counteract it. Thank you, Medusa, for the super sticker. He's trying, but he did it so slick. You didn't do it in front of Martin because you know Martin wasn't gonna let you roll like that. He did it when Martin was unavailable, and we've been black ever since. That's the part. Meek, the same thing happening with non-Acorn people today. Saying it's okay to use the. Come on. Are you guys tracking? Are y'all following what's happening? It's the non-Acorns giving people the pass to use other slurs, right? But they not Acorn. So how, Sway? It was a non-Acorn who was over there hollering, Black power, black power, black power. The fuck? Nigga, why you didn't carry your ass to Trinidad and say it over there? Why is you over here hollering black power? And I'm not even trying to be funny. Why are you over here hollering black power when you could be in Trinidad saying black power? Thank you, Sonia Matthews, for the super chat. Thank you so much. Y'all got to be strong. Y'all have to be strong because we done been played so much. You don't understand the amount of ways we've been played. Hold on. Let me show y'all this. Let me show you how he engaged. It's from emotions. That's why I keep telling y'all, get out y'all emotions. He used emotions. Look.
There are 4 things we have to do. Number 1, we have to stop being ashamed of being black. We've got to stop being ashamed of being black. Number 2, we have to move into a position where we can define terms for what we.
The nigga got the overalls on in everything. That's why when the politicians be going around to the regular people, you ever notice they don't put on a tie? They always just have like a button up and they might have it open at the top so that they can seem relatable to the people. The nigga got the overalls on and everything. He from New York. What the he know about an overall in the 60s? He from New York City, boss. What he know about an overall in New York in the 60s? Nothing. Nothing. They're actors. This is why I despise celebrities. All of them. They're all actors put in place to play with your head. Like Donna B said, no one else had him on. But again, when you emotionally charged, you're not going to see that. All you're going to know is what's going on in the time. That's why when I be bringing up stuff, people are like, well, I don't like him. And this, get out your feelings for a second. You get back in them. But when they write, start separating your feelings from what's actually happening. Look how he get them folk riled up, and he ain't even from the down south, from Mississippi. He in Jackson, Mississippi, and he from New York by way of Trinidad. Remember that.
To be not what racist white society wants it to be. We have to move to define. We have to move to a position where we can feel strength and unity amongst each other from Watts to Harlem, where we won't ever be afraid. And the last thing we have to do is to build a power base so strong in this country that will bring them to their knees every time they mess with us. And in our rural areas of the South, a black mercenary is a man who goes to deliver freedom for somebody else when he doesn't have it where he comes from. We're mercenaries. A black mercenary is a man who leaves his land and goes to another land and gets shot over there and is afraid to fight for it on his own land. We are mercenaries. A black mercenary is a man who can get killed on a foreign land and come home and can't get a decent burial in his hometown. We are mercenaries.
Not everyone's.
I just hate it. I hate it all. Let me say this. I see the world differently because I've seen a lot of things and I've studied a lot of things and I realize we've really been played. So I just be praying to the Most High that I get more patience with my people because I love my people and I know we sick and we under indoctrination. But ultimately, I'm gonna tell y'all, this is a rough job, bro. This is a rough job. This is a rough job. It's rough. Trying to disassociate my people from everybody else who's melanated is so hard because they so sick and so indoctrinated. I ain't gonna lie. Now I see why people just say, screw the adults, let's just go get the kids. You know what I mean? But that's why I encourage you guys to talk to your kids because there are a lot of people walking amongst us acting as if they are us and they're not. Them celebrities are used for tools. That's what they are. Tools to deceive you. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. They are there to deceive you by way of entertainment, and you don't even see the play because you're so entertained, or you really be on some like you be inside of your emotions. So I love y'all, man. I love y'all. I love y'all. Like even my people that's not even. I love it. I love all Acorn. Let me say that by default, I love all the Acorn. And I understand that, like Dane Calloway said, continue being an alarm clock because everybody wake up at different times. I just got to do that. And I know I can't wake everybody up, but the ones I do wake up, it's going to be a time. I love y'all, man. Let me get off of here because I got to finish this Chrisean Rock content. Thank you to whoever sent me that. They said she got 30 days in jail. I'll deal with that and put that out tonight. As well on the Dollhouse. I love y'all. Thank y'all so much. I'm gonna joke y'all up out of here. Love y'all. See y'all next week, especially on Monday. See y'all. Bye.
Mic check 1 2 1 2. We live, baby. Come on. That's right. Okay. Can you hear me now? Oh, let's go. It's your boy Big Chew, the voice of the beat.
You know what I won't
blaze up.
Come on, blaze up.
It's the beat for me.
Wow, 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 for your guy, for your B-O-Y. Drop it for your guy, for your B-O-Y. Do it for your guy, for your B-O-Y. Come on, baby, we live. For your boy. For your boy. Also for your boy. Fix it for your boy. Drop it for your wow, 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 lift it up. Then it bust it open, lift it up. Yeah, come on, lift it up. Then it bust it open for your B-O-Y. Bend it, for your rockin' for your lift it up, baby. Mix it with your bossa now.
Come on, Blaze, so you know.
Drop me a nasty beat.
Mr. Carroll, how you give the voodoo doll time to talk? I don't get no fucking time to talk.
Who the voodoo doll is?
The nigga you just had up here.